looks like a villain. He's wearing gloves that a killer would wear. He stares at you for so long. He's orange. He's over tanned. Like, he's the same color as his damn jacket. Like, this looks like a villain. He clearly doesn't care about his skin, and that is villainous. Like, how's it going, everybody? My name is JazzyGuns. Bang, bang, gang, gang. Let's get back into this game. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, the trilogy. I know it's been a while. I know it's been a long time. Y'all gonna cuss me out, ask me why it's been a long time. These are some long ass trials. These are some long trials. Okay, so I have to edit these down. And I have a lot of stuff going on that's outside of gaming. And that's why it's taking so long for me to put this out. This one is going to be part 1 of this episode. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But anyway, before I dive on in, make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like for your girl, from me, other good stuff, and let's begin. Oh, what's happening? Are they running? Is someone running? What's going on? Oh, is that a knife? Oh, he got a knife. They got a knife. I don't know who it is. Oh, they, for sure, got a knife. 2 killers in 2 buildings? Is that what it is? Oh. Who is that? It's been 2 months since Mya left the office. 2 months without a single trial. I've had offers, but none I took. That is, until the day that girl showed up. Ooh, so someone's replacing Mia? Why do I come here to the office every day? It's not like I want to work. I said, there you are, finally. I said, where have you been? My sister's trial is tomorrow. It's like, who are you? Right, and how'd you get in here? Hello? I said, it doesn't matter who I am. It only matters who you are. The famous defense attorney, Mia Faye. How? Said, you're not Mia Faye, are you? I said, I'm sorry, but Miss Mia Faye no longer works here. She's dead. I'm sorry. Mya is dead. Mya? No, Mia's dead. Their names are way too close, y'all, so excuse me. So you are the coffee boy? Bitch, I know you saw my name on that door. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me right now. I'm Phoenix Wright, a defense attorney. Right. Wait, you're the Phoenix Wright? The Phoenix Wright from the Edgeworth murder case? Yes, ma'am. Do your research. Said, yes, that's correct. It wasn't Edgeworth who was murdered, though. Said, that's a relief then. You're better than nobody. I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'm not taking any cases right now. But you are Phoenix Wright, right? The undefeated defense attorney? Look, I'm not accepting any new cases. I'm sorry, but you'll have to try elsewhere. Please, I'm out of time. But please, you have to help. It's my sister. Aw, he's getting flashbacks. Aw, we don't have to relive that. Aw. I said, okay, I'll hear you out. I said, really? Thank you so much. My name's Emma Sky. I'm a scientific investigator. So, what brought you here? So you're a scientific investigator. Yes, that's right. Is something wrong? No, it's just you seem kind of jumpy, or maybe just young. Young? I'll be 16 years old this year. Bitch, that's young. I'm sorry. Let me stop saying bitch. Young lady. That is young as hell. Okay. You can't even drink. You can't even get a cigarette. Okay, so sit down. Said, oh, I see. Wait, only 16. I'm set to be formally assigned to forensics in 3 more years. My work is becoming quite well known, at my age no less. So what exactly is your current position then? Well, legally speaking, I guess you'd call me an 11th grader. But I'm ready to do my job, at my age no less. So great, another future professional in training. Okay, so let's talk about the case. So what is this about a case? You said the trial's tomorrow? My sister didn't do it. She wouldn't stab to him with a knife. She wouldn't. So it's a murder case. I don't care if there's a witness who saw her do it. She didn't do it. I know she didn't do it. It's a scientific fact. And there's a witness. I said, just talk to her. You have to talk to her. Right, I suppose I will. I promised I'd bring Mia Faye, but that's interesting. How would she know Mia? Apparently she hasn't seen her for a long time because she's long gone. No shade to Mia, but She ain't here no more. So you want to be a scientific investigator when you grow up then? He said, excuse me? I'm not a child, I'll have you know. Still, it's good to have a goal, albeit a very unusual one. I believe investigations should be done scientifically. Don't you? He said, yeah, sure can't fault her for a lack of enthusiasm. If this case is handled scientifically, I'm sure my sister's name will be cleared. Your sister. I've been doing research, you know. I'm developing a new scientific method of case investigation. I'll show you when I'm done. I'm looking forward to it. Guess I should get down to the detention center and talk to her sister. So, what is her sister's name? Because we keep saying her sister, her sister. What is her sister's name? Said, my sister asked for Mia specifically. This Mia Faye person was a few years below her in school. So they went to the same school. She always told me to go to Mia if I ever needed a defense attorney. And well, I need one. Incidentally, Mia is a woman. I said, now that you mention it, I guess it is more of a woman's name than a man's. Well, it's nice of you to help your sister out like this. You must be close. Oh, no? Well, actually, when she gets like this, she is now. I kind of hate her. Huh? I said, but she's my only family. Your only family? What about your parents? They died in a car accident when I was little. Of course. It wouldn't be an anime if your parents aren't dead. Either one is dead, or your father is gone, or the father's on a business trip, or your parents are dead. It's one of them. They can never have a happy home, like ever. Well, let's get out of that conversation. All right, let's go ahead and go to the detention center. I wonder what's wrong with Mia. Emma, goddamn. She got quiet all of a sudden as soon as we arrived. Guard, I thought I told you I didn't want visitors. Sorry, ma'am, your sister. No excuses. Or did you not want to raise this here? It's understood, ma'am. They said, what was that all about? Not her bossing up the security guards. Oh, Lord. She looks like she's in military outfit. Hi, Lana. Funny. I seem to remember specifically telling you not to come here. Perhaps my memory is failing. He said, look, I didn't want to come here, okay? But your trial's tomorrow, and you still don't have a defense attorney. I'll be the one in court tomorrow. This has nothing to do with you, Emma. Damn, she said, get on. Oh, y'all look just alike. Wow, isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Hey, how do you know me? Mia mentioned you. I've heard quite a bit. I'm sorry, what exactly is that you do? He said, my name is Lana Sky. I'm chief prosecutor for this district. Oh, you're a prosecutor. Oh, okay. Two sisters, one a lawyer. Could this be a coincidence? Emma, Lana, they're just like the other two. It's too close. It's too close. Yeah, it's like they modeled both of them after like both of the ones that are gone. Like I feel like I would have liked it better if they would have made like completely different people that weren't really connected like that, but you know, that's just me. But there's something you should know from the start, which is the suspect in this case has confessed to the crime. Huh? Wait, but the suspect is me. I did it. Well, Mr. Wright, well, why don't you begin by telling me what exactly happened? The crime took place yesterday, February 21st at 5:15 p.m. That's quite specific. It was in the witness's deposition. A witness clearly saw me committing the crime. That was a bit of bad luck, wasn't it? The crime took place in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The body was found in the trunk of my subordinate's car. The prosecutor's office, huh? In your subordinate's car trunk. Classy. I was arrested on the spot, caught red-handed as it were. Well, that's just great. Okay, so who's the victim? An investigator with the police department. I suppose the correct term is detective. A detective? Death was due to a lot of blood. He was stabbed once in the stomach. By you? Death wasn't immediate, but the wound was fatal. Okay, did she work in like forensics? Like, like she's acting like she knows exactly what she's talking about. I said, I see. Allow me to repeat myself, Mr. Wright. The victim was a detective. You know what that means, don't you? Uh-oh. I said, what? What, Mr. Wright, what does it mean? Well, it means the police department will consider it a matter of pride to have me found guilty. They will use any means at their disposal to do so. This case gets worse and worse with everything I learn. They're gonna be like, you going down. You took down one of ours, you gotta go down. Said, so you're the chief prosecutor. That is correct. I'm responsible for overseeing every trial handled by prosecutors in this district. I make sure the prosecutors have what they need to do the job and manage every aspect. Those are my responsibilities in a nutshell. That's an awfully large nutshell. Still, I'm a little surprised. I would think you'd recognize the district's chief prosecutor, Mr. Wright. Huh? He said, in fact, it seems impossible you wouldn't. Lana, what happened to your hand? He said, oh, this? I cut myself by accident when I stabbed him, that is. Okay, she's admitting to it too much. She couldn't have done it. She's admitting to too much of this. She said, I'm not very good at being a criminal, I suppose. How am I supposed to defend this? Time to change the subject. Wait, she was in a class ahead of Mia, wasn't she? So, you were in school with Mia, correct? A few years above her? Emma told you that too, did she? He said, well, why not? I did drag him all the way here from his office. Although it seems he has very little in common with Mia. Oh, bitch, hold on. He said, it was in law school. I was in my 3rd year, and she was auditing the class. She was different than the other students. Different? She was strong. She'd do anything to become a defense attorney. Anything. That was probably why she was attracted to me. Excuse me? Oh, intellectually attracted. Lana was top of her class in school. I was the best there was. Oh, I'm doing pretty good in school too, by the way. It sounds a bit different from when Emma says it. Well, Mr. Wright, excuse me? As you can plainly see, I'm admitting my guilt. I think it's safe to say there's no way you can take this case. None. But Lana, I think she's doing this on purpose. He said, why? Why are you doing this to me? You never think of anyone but yourself. I know you didn't do it, Lana. I know. So how can you say you did? Maybe she's trying to protect somebody that they know. If I lose you, I'll be all alone. I hate you, Lana. Oh, don't say that, baby girl. Oh. Mr. Wright? Yes? I believe our discussion here is ended. The rest, I leave to you. You mean you're requesting my services as your defense? Don't lose any sleep over it. Your client has confessed after all. The case is over. Right. I'll do what I can to get to the bottom of this. So, is she admitting defeat? He said, Lana has confessed to the crime, yes, but something doesn't fit. It's that look in Emma's eyes. There's something else going on here, and I'm going to find out what. Who is she protecting? He said, I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. About what? My sister. She's not always like that, you know. I just never expect to be defending another prosecutor again. She's changed a lot. She used to be so gentle, always smiling. Everybody liked her. I see. Sorry, but I'm having trouble imagining that. What happened to her? I don't know for certain myself. I think maybe maybe not. Sounds like there's something that defies a simple scientific explanation. Let's go check out this underground parking at the prosecutor's office, shall we? Okay, I paused there because usually when people say underground parking, they'd be like underground parking lot. So I thought I was missing a word, but I wasn't. So this is the lot where it all happened. Looks like they're still investigating. Funny, that was my first visit to the prosecutor's office. Should be like this. Hey everyone, keep up the good work. Hey, what are you thinking? Well, they are going to be my co-workers 3 years from now, after all. So no harm in saying hello. Actually, there is. You know attorneys aren't supposed to examine crime scenes? I'm trying to not stand out too much here, see? Hey there. Uh-oh. You're spectating to go unnoticed here. Partner, what? Oh, this is somebody's cellar. Partner? Oh, Lord. Here we go. He said, what do we have here? Looks like a bambina got loose from the ranch and is up to no good. Folks gotta learn to keep them doggies tied down, partner. Oh, Lord, I'm about to have a field day with this accent. He said, Mr. Marshall. Oh, Lord. Why he look like Cassidy from Overwatch? He said, Marshall looks more like a sheriff to me. Looky here, Bambina, I know how you feel. But this is my gang's gold strike, see? Strike? This is our claim, our territory, with the motherload of evidence. If you're fixing to mess with what's ours, you'll regret it, partner. You know what dreams the cacti out in the desert dream you want to. I said, what is this guy talking about? Why am I putting on this voice? You head long home now. Happy trails, Bambina. He said, was that hombre a friend of yours? He said, kind of, sort of. He's a detective who thinks he's a sheriff from the Wild West, it seems. So, what the fuck? Why does he sound like that? He said, look, a door. This must mean something. I'm not sure that doors mean anything. No, it won't open. Mysterious lock. I fail to see what's mysterious about it. Mr. Wright, you need to learn to enjoy life more. Let's finish our investigation first, shall we? Right, what are you talking about, girl? Okay. He said, look, a stylish glass-walled room. Very nice. You can see the whole parking lot from in there. It says security. Perhaps it's a cafe? Cafe security. Yeah, that must be it. Let's check it out later. I hate to break it to you, but I think that's probably just a security guard office. He said, you know, I scored a 97 on my science test the other day. Too bad they don't have a test for common sense. Yeah, you know, a lot of people do not test positive for common sense in this world. This is where the cars leave the lot. The arrow on the ground makes it look more like an entrance. What are you talking about? It's plainly an exit. Well, maybe it's both. Kind of a dual purpose. So the theory of relativity. What? He said, I've got to write this down. Hey, Mr. Wright. Maybe you know, was Mr. Relativity German? Or was he British? Mr. Relativity? Are you sure that was his name? Okay, is it a wallet? He said, what's this, a wallet? Excuse me, officer. Wait, what are you doing, Mr. Wright? What am I doing? I just found this wallet, so I'm handing it over to the police. I don't believe it. This is real basic. Anything at a crime scene is evidence. Let's be so scientific about this, please. Just put it in your pocket. He said, how was that scientific? Sounds like that to me. Okay, so it's a foldable wallet. At the crime scene, there seems to be nothing inside. Oh, so we picking up a wallet from a brokey? Okay. I'm called to duty already, and at my tender age, here I'll teach you the trick to examining evidence in detail, okay? By the way, her eyes are sparkling. I can tell she's been waiting to do this. Okay. So now, look at the court record. Okay, so what court record? Okay. So you have to be sure to examine evidence carefully on all sides. Now let's start examining from every angle. Okay. So, oh look, I think there might be a clue here. You should check it out with the, okay. So we are looking at it, we're opening, we're examining deeply, okay. Oh, this is an ID card, Sergeant Bruce Goodman, okay. See, well, isn't scientific investigation useful? I guess, though I don't see what science has to do with it. Okay, so it's a police officer. Investigator's ID card found at prosecutor's office crime scene, okay. Let's be sure to examine every piece of evidence we find. I guess I've got to be on my toes from now on. So let's look around more. So there's a ladder. There's a ladder. That's a step ladder. What's the difference? In scientific terms, please. Scientific, huh? Look at the basic nature of things, Mr. Wright. This all seems so horribly familiar. Lord. Okay, is that a trap? I thought that was a trap door. Okay, let's see. Is it here? A phone. Let's see if it works. Hey, don't touch stuff we don't need to be touching. Is that I can't hear anything. My ears. No, my ears. Maybe it's due to the barometric pressure. Girl, not everything is scientific, okay? Some things just be, okay? You need to leave that be, all right? It's just off. I said, what is she babbling about? Hey, what did you just say? See, you could hear just fine. The phone's broken. Right, the phone's just not on. So this wall is in our way. It's got a faucet for water. Wait, I know. This wall is merely a facade hiding the truth. This is no wall, but a water tank. I fail to see how it makes any difference either way. Right, what are you talking about, girl? Oil drum looks like it's filled with water. It's heavy, I can't even budge it. The drum over here is on its side. Wait, I know. I'll hide in there and do a stakeout. I think you'll probably just get arrested. In fact, you may not even have to hide in the drum to get arrested. Said, what? I'm not suspicious. Girl, but you are special. Oh, it's a car. Oh, what's that? Is that a phone? So, well, no time to waste. Let's get hunting for clues. I wonder what this is. Well, partner, looks like you got no intention of going home quietly. Said the sheriff, like I said before, this here's our claim. Be best be moseying along unless you're fixing to bite the bullet. He said, oh, scared man, please. Ain't nobody scared of this man. He said, could you just tell us one thing? Who owns that car? Is that his? He said, well, the little filly's got a good nose on her. You want to know who rides that red Mustang with the body in her saddle, eh? He said, please. He said, no problem, partner, but time for victuals. Anyway, get yourself to the saloon up on the 12th floor at Prosecutor's office. Might just find you a Cerveza you like. What? He said, where's this guy think he is? And when, for that matter? Note to self, look up Biddle Saloon Cerveza. I said, maybe we should check out room 1202, the High Prosecutor's office. Right, let's look at that. He said, in any case, stay away from the car. You can look around here all you like, just keep your paws off our claim. Right, great. So what's his name? Like, we still don't know his name. Great. Maybe there are some clues around here, Mr. Wright. Let's check it out. Excuse me? Were you two all set? Us? Oh, shit. That's not even him. I said, what's this? She couldn't be. You said, you're selling lunches here? This is a crime scene. Who are you? Oh, it said, hello, half and half, was it? Oh, thanks. And you, sir? Yes? Ooh, some crunchy goodness coming at you. You know what, girl? I like you already, okay? You didn't even say hello or anything like that. You just say, here, have this food. You know I'm a foodie. I like you already. Said, thanks. Interesting way of doing business. This area is off limits to anyone without clearance, especially passers-by. Or are you officers? No, but you don't exactly look like the type to have clearance. Well, that's hardly a way to greet someone, even if my days as the cough-up queen are over. Cough up? Huh? You know, I'm feeling kind of full. Maybe I'll pass on lunch. He said, I'm quite connected to this case, you see. The images are burned into my eyes, you might say. Yes, all the sordid secrets. Secrets? Dear me, you are a slow one, aren't you? Is she the witness? Is that it? Huh? He said, I'm referring to the murder, the stabbing of that detective. What? Oh yeah, she's the witness. You mean you're the witness my sister was talking about? Please, cough up queen. Tell us what happened. The name is Angel Star. Don't you go forgetting it. Or, before you know it, I'll have you whimpering at my heels. He said, yes, ma'am. Yikes, she means it. I like how, like, depending on what side that she's, like, turning to, it's, like, two different, like, color eyes. It's kind of cool. Somehow, I knew. Yesterday was a day of destiny. I knew something was going to happen. Just like I know the daily special on Friday every week is salmon. Destiny. Was yesterday's special for some reason? You're a defense attorney, right? You should know then. You should know the foul misdeeds of the evil ones who haunt this den of inequity. Evil ones? Prosecutors. They have no qualms at all about blackening the name of innocence. And yesterday they paid homage to the most evil one of all. They gave an award for King of Prosecutors. What a farce. So she's saying there was some sort of prosecutors convention yesterday. I was almost compelled to lace your lunches with something fat. Oh my God, lace, girl, what? Are you a killer? It said, do you have a personal grievance against prosecutors or something? Or is there some kind of scientific evidence of this evil? It said, young miss, mock me at your own risk. You'll soon find out why they call me the cough-up queen. I feel like they call her the cough-up queen. One of two reasons. One, it could be either you cough up money so that you can get information from her. Or two, you cough up blood because she puts something in your food or some substance to make you sick and leaves you coughing up. So I think that's what it is. It said the most heinous of all the evil ones, the one they awarded yesterday, it was in his car that they found the body. Proof that he devours the evilest lunches of all. He said, really? Really what? I'm totally confused. One thing's clear, this lunch lady has a thing against prosecutors. So what exactly was it that you witnessed, Miss Starr? It was a fascinating spectacle, to be sure. I now feel I know what they say when they talk about a woman's wrath. To see Lana Skye wield that knife so, is that her knife flashed in anger, bringing him to a sad end. It was truly a sight to see. You mean you saw the very moment of the crime? The sound of his silvery ties to this world being cruelly cut still rings in my ears, and the rhythmic beat of Lana Skye's knife. Wait a second, you know Lana Skye? Huh, of course. It's quite a feat becoming chief prosecutor. How many lunchboxes of sin did she pack to make that journey, I wonder? Does she always travels light? Now, why would this pretty lunch lady know the chief prosecutor's name? I feel like she didn't see anything because she kept on saying stuff like as far as sounds and like she heard something and she heard her do this. Like you didn't see anything, so she's not really a witness. So could we ask you a bit about yourself, Miss Starr? He said, I come here every day to sell lunches. I import only the freshest and best from the Far East. For some reason, the box lunches are a hit here. Why not make the lunches here rather than import them? Did you say something? He said, oh, no. Only true connoisseurs can understand. The kind you can only tell someone who has tried General Tso's Trilobite to lunch said. He said, never mind, you win. He said, I don't even want to appreciate part of a Trilobite's flavor. He said, anyway, I come here every day to sell lunches. My boyfriend works in the security room here at the prosecutor's office. Jesus. Your boyfriend? See the security room over there? The glass-walled booth? I sell my lunches, and since I'm here anyway, I drop in to see him. Since you're here anyway, I guess selling lunches is more important than romance. She was like, you didn't come with a boyfriend? Okay. So to scientifically analyze the data available so far, you, Miss Star, are a lunch vendor with an ulterior motive for coming here. Useful analysis, not. Right, everybody, because she's not a scientist, bro. Said, did you have a bad experience with a prosecutor, Miss Star? I sense some hostility. Hostility? Ha! Perhaps. Prosecutors are all alike, and the bigger they get, the worse they smell. Kind of like 10-day-old clams in the chowder. I wonder if Miss Star was involved in some sort of legal trouble in the past. That'd be a sure cause of food poisoning, scientifically speaking, of course. I mean, now you're talking cough-up queen. She said, I thought she was just a lunch vendor, but now I'm not so sure. Oh, they even have the little, Steel Samurai. I was about to say silver. Steel Samurai, okay. This is the kind of room that just screams, I can do the job. Quite a change from your office, really. I'm tired of y'all throwing shade, okay? Stop asking me for help and acting like I'm a bad defense attorney. Stop it. He said, look, there's a trophy or something there. A trophy? What, that shield? It takes real nerve to display stuff like this. Whoever's office this is, they must be a real stuck-up jerk. Phoenix Wright. You never tire of prying into other people's business, do you? Oh, we know exactly who this is. So that voice. Yup. He said, long time no see, Edgeworth. He said, huh? He said, Mr. Edgeworth. You know him from somewhere? He said, of course. I'm his biggest fan. My sister introduced us once and... Right, her sister's the chief prosecutor after all. He said, well, what brings you here? I'll warn you, I've been known to be a real stuck-up jerk. He said, no, did I? No, I was just Mr. Right here. Don't you blame it on me, girl. You said that. You said that with your whole chest. Stop it. He said, hey, don't blame me. He said, we're just here to investigate a murder case. Murder? A body was found in this nasty bright red sports car in the parking lot? That would be my car. Oh? Who said, what of it? Oh! Is it your car? I'll say one thing, she certainly can't scream. So, what about it? So the body was found in your car? Go ahead, say it right. You think I did it, don't you? After you went through all that trouble to help me last year, no less. No, we don't think you did it. I mean, it was my sister who stabbed him. He said, wait, no, she didn't do that. I mean... Wait, so you're the chief prosecutor's little sister then? Yes, sir, Emma Sky. He said, it's nice to meet you again. Now, that didn't sound forced at all. Now I remember, you've really grown. I'll admit, it was a surprise for me too, to think that my own car would become the scene of a murder. More surprising still, I'm being forced to prove my superior's guilt. I can understand. Wait, what did you say? Lana Sky is the chief prosecutor, the top prosecutor in the district. She can't prosecute herself, so I'll be the prosecutor at the trial tomorrow. You? Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, jeez, now we gotta go up against him again. To be honest, it's a bit of a miracle I'm still here at all. What do you mean? Rumors. You've heard the rumors about me, haven't you? What? What rumors? Miles Edgeworth. It's hard to remember a time when there weren't rumors around this guy. Forging evidence, arranging false testimony, illegal searches, you name it. Thanks to you, my innocence was established in the trial at the end of last year. However, there are some who say I'm the one responsible in the current incident. What? That's crazy. Some people need very little excuse to think ill of others. That is very true. People hate so easily. It's like they could hear just one bad thing about them and then just be like, oh, I knew it. And like hate you forever. Like, it's crazy. It's a fact of life, impossible to stop. But some of them go so far as to present me with toys like this. They think it's funny. Toys? That bronze shield? There's gotta be a story behind that one. So what is that? It's the Chief Prosecutor Sky. Yes, we first worked together on a case 2 years ago. It was my first big case. That's right, I remember. 2 years ago, I wasn't even a lawyer yet. Since then, I've always felt that she was looking out for me. It appears I was mistaken. Oh, mistaken? Why? I mean, I know she's not the warmest person, but I'm sure she felt some responsibility for you. Then, why? Why did she stab someone in the trunk of my car? Not only that, she stabbed him with my knife. He said, what? What? Mr. Edgeworth, your knife was a murder weapon? To be specific, it was the knife I kept in the toolbox in the trunk of my car. No traces of victim's blood, no prints. He said, Edgeworth? What? Are you sure you didn't do it? He said, come on, can't he take a joke? He said, you have a strange sense of humor, Mr. Wright. Okay, so let's examine the room. What the fuck? Why'd you have that? He said, my, what an amazing bouquet, just right for Mr. Edgeworth. No kidding. Hey, there's a card on it. Back from the dead, Wendy. Wendy? I've heard that name somewhere before. And beside it, a giant steel samurai. Wow, I want one. Huh? There's something written on the bottom of his foot. Between a rock and a hard place. Wendy. He said, Wendy, is she Mr. Edgeworth's fiance? Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Not the old bag. I said, I don't think so. Not her old ass. He said, I've been wondering, what the heck is this? It has a big K on it. Is it of Prosecutors? Huh? What's that? It's the King of Prosecutors trophy. Oh, King of Prosecutors? It's a great honor. They send that shield to the best prosecutor each year. What? So that K, that's... K stands for King. Yeah, you got a problem with that? I didn't design the thing. King of Prosecutors, kind of like Employee of the Month, only better. Huh, so it was given to him on the day of the murder. Oh, that's the King of Prosecutors shield, huh? Well done, Edgeworth. You must be proud to be the King of Prosecutors. Congratulations, King of Prosecutors. Said, please stop saying that. That still doesn't explain one thing. Why is the tip of this shield broken off? True, why? Said, wow, this jacket is even lacier than his usual ones. This must be his lucky trial jacket. Lucky jacket, right? I've never seen him wear it. He said, I'm sure there's a story behind why it's in a frame. Maybe I'll be naughty and take a picture. She's getting way too excited with this. Okay, so that's that. Let's see. A work desk is quite tidy as one might expect. What a nice desk. Easy to use and easy on the eyes. It's polished so well I can see my own reflection. Aww. Strange. Why did I just picture Detective Gumshoe? Maybe I'll take that name plaque as a souvenir. Don't. He'll sue you. Right. Don't take nothing from him, girl. I said, whoa, what a view. It must be nice to have an office on the 12th floor. I guess you would feel important. Incidentally, were you to jump out this window, the time until impact with the ground would be, got it, approximately 3.23 seconds. That's handy to know, just in case we want to kill ourselves. Okay. Cute, what a pretty tea set. I go more for the instant tea bags myself. Amazing, the drawer below is filled with packets of tea leaves. They're all sorted by place of origin and flavor. Look at this royal blend. What an exquisitely splendid concoction. There's such a thing as taking a hobby too far. His tea set? I said, whoa, these are all case files? They're stacked up to the ceiling. That's even a ladder. A ladder. Said, odd. I thought Edgeworth wasn't good with heights. He must have someone get them for him. I wonder. Strange. Why did I just picture Detective Gumshoe? He must study these case reports so closely. He's so cool. You wouldn't say that if you saw him sweating bullets up on that ladder. And chess? I'm not too up on my chest, but it looks like blue's in a bit of a tight spot. The red knights have surrounded the blue pawn, huh? Those horses are mounted knights. Their swords have really sharp edges. And check out that poor pawn. His head is kind of spiky. Kind of reminds me of you. Mr. Edgeworth must be an avid chess player. What's wrong, Mr. Wright? Edges surrounding a pawn with spiky hair. Oh, I get it. It took me a bit to understand, but I got it. The name ID number are written here, okay? So I wonder why they only use numbers for IDs. What else would they use? Letters, silly. They're the reason we have a written language in the first place. True. Sergeant Bruce Goodman. He said, see, wouldn't that be better? Well, it does have a certain ring to it. Exactly my point. It doesn't take much to amuse her. I forgot that we could turn this thing around. Okay. Let's see the bottom of that. Said, hey, check it out. There's a metal plate here. It looks like the names of all the previous recipients are engraved on it. Wow, one guy's listed a bunch of times. Von Cod, bitch. I guess he must be a foreigner. Yeah, that's probably it. He said, well, wherever he's from, he must have been an amazing prosecutor. I'd like to meet this Von Commer sometime. So when she says it, his name does kind of have a ring to it. Oh, fuck him. All right, I don't like him. Check the blood. So this must be the victim's blood, right? Either that or Edgeworth cut himself peeling an apple. Said, what's Edgeworth doing with the knife like this anyway? Hey, maybe he spends his weekends roughing it out in the wild. Edgeworth in the wild? I think my fruit peeling theory is more likely. Are you kidding? I always pictured him as an outdoorsman. Now there's a scary thought. It says, say Edgeworth, I was wondering about this. Mr. Wright, huh? What? Are you sure you should be showing that to Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, he'll take it for sure, won't he? Said, I wish I could be on the same side as Mr. Edgeworth, but then my sister would be found guilty. If she sighs any deeper, I'm going to start getting depressed. All right, so let's not present that. Yeah, so basically this says you're the best of the best last year, huh? You can take that foolish grin elsewhere, right? I lost a day of work to receive that travesty. Huh? Why is that? I had to go to the police department to receive that broken shield. The police department? Yes, right next to the police station downtown. You've been there, haven't you? It said where Detective Gumshoe works. Yeah. It said, I was wondering something about your shield. Why is it broken? What does it matter? I've got more important things to worry about. Oh, right. Huh, he doesn't seem too concerned about his award, for better or for worse. Yesterday was a very busy day for the prosecutor's office. Maybe we should ask him about yesterday. Could you tell me more about yesterday, the day of the murder? Yesterday was the annual cleaning day at the prosecutor's office. Cleaning day? So working with the police department, we sort and file all evidence from solved cases. We call it evidence transferal. Wiping your hands of old cases, in other words. Oh, and another thing, a ceremony was held at the police department. There's an annual review and awards for outstanding police officers and prosecutors, and that's when you got the shield. I was at the police department yesterday afternoon. I got back here at 5:12. That's very precise. It said, people like myself and Mr. Edgeworth pride ourselves on our precision, Mr. Wright. To know, I place little faith in my memory. The only thing I trust is solid evidence. Okay, so he had a parking stub that he was here at 5:12. Okay. So this is the parking stub from the underground lot. The murder took place around 5:15. So the murder happened right after you got back. What, right? I'd appreciate it if you direct that suspicious glare elsewhere. Who the fuck? Who is this? Hello? Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth anywhere on the premises? I'm Edgeworth. What is it? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. Report? What? Did you find new evidence in the case against Chief Prosecutor Sky? I don't like the way this conversation is going at all. Sky, sir. No, sir. No name of that kind, sir. Not in this report, sir. He said, I think I just heard Edgeworth's lid blow. He said, Mr. Edgeworth's lid isn't on very tight, is it? I made a clear request to the police department, did I not? I need to focus on the trial tomorrow, so don't bring me anything unrelated. Sir, I'm just following orders, sir. They told me to bring this to you. I wasn't aware. Give me your name. Yes, sir. Meekins, sir. Officer Meekins. I said, right, Officer Meekins. Take your report away. And good luck with that raise next month. Oh, that's so sad, taking that man's money. He said, poor guy. Looks like he was absent on the day they gave out brains and good luck. I said, right. Yes, sir? He said, he caught me off guard. He said, as you can see, I'm busy. You may leave now. Let's do what he says, Mr. Wright. The victim was a detective from the same department as the patrolman just now. Go down to the police department. You can ask more there. Thanks. He seems to have finally calmed down at least. Well, at least he's working with me, because before, we had a rocky past, so I'm glad that, we could be of assistance to him. He said, woo, we're finally here. Why would they put the police department so far away from the prosecutor's office? Beats me. That took almost 30 minutes by taxi, and traffic wasn't even that bad. The police department, huh? I've only ever been to criminal affairs next door. He said, hold on, what's that? The damn mascot that we saw before? Disturbing. Why does it undulate like that? Oh, wait, I know. This is the Blue Badger. They're trying to make him the police mascot. Wow, Mr. Wright, you sure know a lot about the police. Still, he does seem familiar somehow. Forget the Blue Badger. Who's that next to him? Someone appears to be dancing with the Blue Badger. Uh-oh, he noticed me. He sure is running over here fast. Oh, Lord. He said, hey, pal, what are you doing here? That's my line, Detective Gumshoe. Specifically, why were you dancing over there? What? Well, at least he doesn't seem to be busy. This is our chance to get information. Hey, I'll have you know I'm a very busy man, pal. No, you're not. Come on now. Wait, how many trials have we sat through when you wasn't doing anything? Come on now. So I'll give you one word of advice, pal. You better not agree to defend the suspect in this case. Why not? Huh? Well, it's just that the chief prosecutor has confessed to the crime. She says she summoned a detective to the prosecutor's office and she killed him. But what if she's not telling the truth? Yes, well, no. Come on, pal. There's plenty of evidence against her. But what if the evidence was fake? Hey, pal. Can I speak to you for a second? Huh? Me? Why is this little girl so peeved at me? She's a relative of the suspect. She's Lana Sky's sister. Whoa, the chief prosecutor's little sister? Just please investigate this case carefully, okay? Scientifically. Yes, sir. Oh, by the way, you might want to keep your voices down. You don't want to be overheard using words like faked. Huh? It's a sensitive issue with us these days. Oh, is somebody forging stuff? Oh, what are you doing here, Detective Gumshoe? Me? Oh, well, nothing really. As we thought. This is why we came over here. Come on now. So they kicked me out of criminal affairs. Oh, you lost your job? So Detective Gumshoe, what did you do this time? What do you mean this time? I said, then what happened? I know things are busy right now. I mean, with my sister's case and all. It's true, we've never had a chief prosecutor murder anyone before. Only the highest ranked people are being let into criminal affairs now. The lowest ranking guy in there is our chief of detectives. They're not letting any of us rank and file detectives in at all. None of you? I know this is an important trial, but isn't that a little odd? So anyway, I thought I'd spend the day getting the Badger dance down part. I said, isn't there anything else you could be doing? He said, the chief of police himself is directing this investigation, pal. And Officer Marshall was assigned to the underground parking lot. He said, now that I think about it, Emma did seem to know that Marshall guy. A patrolman in charge of a crime scene is unheard of, pal. So let's examine this area. What the fuck is up with this thing? He said, I was wondering about that. What? The Dancing Blue Badger is my masterpiece. Oh, you built it? This explains a lot. This explains a lot. You made this, Detective Gumshoe? The chief threw together some designs and I just did my thing, pal. Nice work. It's battery powered so it can go anywhere. There's no switch, so it'll just dances until the battery dies. Poor Blue Badger faded to dance until he drops. Okay, oh, so that's evidence. Okay. He said, I always get excited when I come to a police station. Why is that? It just feels like I jumped into a movie. Huh? You know, with all of the police and criminals? Well, I don't know if this is all that exciting. Sure it is. Look at those two officers over there. They're probably talking about the latest bust. Funny, I thought they were talking about the weather. They're not doing their job. Come on now, you don't believe. He said, look, that patrolman is saluting the other guy. He must be a detective. And then I said, hey, you do that, your soup will get cold, buddy. He said, that's hilarious. So I just laughed so hard I cried. He said, I guess he wasn't saluting. He was wiping tears from his eyes. They make a good pair. Right, they ain't doing shit. Detectives in there look pretty busy. Just imagine right now, behind those doors, a police drama in action. Somehow the thought fails to excite me. He said, Mr. Wright, do you know why patrol cars are painted black and white? No idea. Why? Well, I think they're designed after a panda. A panda? Not that I have scientific proof. It's just a theory. Do you mind me asking how you come up with that theory? So it was when I was on a school trip. I saw a patrol car, and it came to me. We had just been at the zoo, you see. The zoo. What about zebras? Or do they not have those at the zoo? So I'm Detective Gumshoe. What can you tell me about this? Huh? Hey, pal, this is a detective's ID card. You can't just keep that. You have to turn it into the police. It's people like you that get me into so much trouble all the time. Meaning Detective Gumshoe must drop his card a lot. Said, let's see, Bruce Goodman. Goodman, sounds familiar. Nah, my mistake. Oh, just when we thought he was useful. Said, but didn't you? Said, whoa, now I remember. Bruce Goodman, he's a victim. That's what I thought. Said, can you tell us more, Detective Gumshoe? Said, Miles Edgeworth, this is dated the day of the crime. The murder took place 3 minutes after Edgeworth parked his car. If only he was held up at a couple extra red lights, he wouldn't have been caught up in this whole affair. Perhaps. It just goes to show you never know what will happen when you run a yellow light. Okay, haha. Said, hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got yesterday. Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself. Congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently he's forgotten. But I was proud of Mr. Edgeworth for winning that award, even with all the naysayers in the prosecutor's office. Naysayers must be because of the rumors. Oh, poor thing. Let's see. It said, found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, stabbing Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? He said, wait, I mean, sure, of course, someone else really did it. Someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth. The car and the knife do seem a little too well organized to be a coincidence. Poor Mr. Edgeworth, what could have happened? We have to find out a little more about what's going on with Edgeworth. So, this ID card belonged to the victim. He was a detective like myself, Detective Bruce Goodman. Don't you think it's strange? I mean, why would the victim's ID card be lying on the ground where we found it? Well, Detective Goodman should have been at the police department yesterday. There was an evidence transferal for a case he handled 2 years ago. Evidence transferal, Mr. Edgeworth mentioned that too. But Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Well, that's the thing. It's hard to say this, but word is that Chief Prosecutor Sky called him out there to the parking lot. and Lana's confessing as much. He said he's in a tough spot again. Again? Oh, yeah, after all of that. That was a long-ass trial, too. He said, well, it all started with the murder of that defense attorney, Hammond. But Mr. Edgeworth was found innocent. Listen, pal, there have always been rumors about Mr. Edgeworth. Forging evidence, making deals with witnesses, nothing outright, but there was always whispered rumors. Ever since he was accused of murder, no one's whispering. They're practically shouting. But there's no evidence against him. Well, Mr. Edgeworth was always had unusually strong ties to the department higher up. It's only natural that people would be suspicious. I had no idea he was under the gun. Anyway, this latest case has started a new rumor. People say the only reason he took this case is because he's aiming for the chief prosecutor position himself. What? But I know the truth, pal. Nobody wants to be the one who has to prosecute the chief prosecutor. Mr. Edgeworth is biting the bullet on this one. He's doing this all for us. And that's all I know about that. I'm not officially on the case, you know. Thank you. Why aren't you handling the case, Detective Gumshoe? We met the guy who is. What's his name? The guy in the parking lot. That'd be Officer Marshall. He was appointed directly by the chief of police. Officer Marshall. Is he some kind of Wild West sheriff or something? No, Jake Marshall's just a regular officer from West LA. For a moment there, I wasn't sure. He said, look, pal, let me try to make things a little easier for you. Show them this and they'll let you examine the crime scene. Maybe. Okay, so this is a letter of introduction. Okay. Said, I'll be surprised if this gets us anywhere. Just act like you're supposed to be there and nobody will look at you twice, pal. Alright, so let's go. Let's go there right now. Said, looks like the investigation is still going. I have to be getting back to the shop. Sorry, looks like I'll be stuck in this pit till the sun sleeps. I'll see you in my dreams tonight then, baby. Oh, Jesus. I thought it was him again. My God. Said, oh, still there? He said, hello? He said, why? The surprised looks. Didn't I mention? I've got a boyfriend in criminal affairs too. He said, what happened to the security guard? Right, so you just dating everybody? Oh, she for the streets. Okay. He said, hey, what's wrong, Bambina? You're looking like a dog that's lost his herd. Jake Marshall. It's a strange guy to put in charge of a crime scene. So let's talk to him. Let's see what's going on. He said, would you mind reading this for me? What's this? I warn you, fan letters to me go right in the spittoon. He said, it's a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. May we investigate? He said, Gumshoe? Oh, that old cow dog? He's holding a birthday party or something. What? Said, look, where it should say letter of introduction, it says invitation. Oh, I think he just miswrote it. Said, wait, why am I getting all defensive here? Said, no worries, this proves it's from Detective Gumshoe, better than a blood test. Guess I better let you in then. And basically saying, he said Detective Gumshoe is bad at his job and we all know it. Thank you, Officer Marshall. He said, oh, that's right, he's a patrolman, not a detective. He said, which reminds me, hey, wait a sec, isn't a crime scene supposed to be handled by a detective or higher? Well, folks, the clues are calling. Welcome to our gold strike. Be like the settler, strike out for lands unknown. Manifest destiny. Let's have a hootenanny. So note to self, police investigators are like settling land. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? I say I won't be needing this anymore. Okay, we discarded that. And let's present him with this. What's that? Some sort of police passport? This is Detective Goodman's ID card, strangely enough. We found it a good distance away from the crime scene. Good distance? Is this rat hole? If you want distance, get yourself to Texas. Texas? This is a tiny little crime scene in a tiny little town with a tiny little evidence. What difference does a few yards make, compadre? Note to self, if you encounter suspicious evidence, think of Texas. There's no better way to study than to hang out with the pros. Okay, and what about this? All right, compadre, count to 3, huh? You gotta do that if you're gonna draw evidence on someone. That's what we do in Texas. Remind me never to visit Texas. He said, toy shield suits the boy well. He said, what exactly could you shield with that? A toy knife, baby? I'm sorry. He said, Officer Marshall, don't you have anything good to say about Mr. Edgeworth? You don't like him, right? We get the point. He said, well, you know, when I was a detective, I got one of these. Let me guess. Did it have a K for King of Detectives on it? Said, hey, they could use the same shield over and over. Note to self, the prosecutor's office in criminal affairs is surprisingly cheap. So you know it, they've gotten cheaper with every passing year, I tell you. Okay, so that might be a reason why that happened. All right. It's at 5:12 p.m. The prosecutor's bright red steed came in at a trot real slow like. Is it a trot? My Madonna tells me the crime occurred 3 minutes later, so it seems the chief prospector was lying in wait. Maybe waiting for her prince to ride in on his bright red horse. So what you mean is the killer intended to use Edgeworth's car all along. It says A block. This area is reserved for prosecutors. Defense attorneys are regulated to B block. I dream of the day when I will be able to park my car here. I'll go over to B block to buy my hamburgers from you, Mr. Wright. I'm not planning on giving up my job that soon. Okay, so let's look at the car. So what's this? It looks like a note of some sort. Look, something's written on it. 675-12-2. Says you're right. Let's see. 67S-12-2. So there's a name printed on the paper above that. Goodman. Maybe it fell out of his pocket when he was killed. Well, so what does it mean, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? Note to self: for deductive reasoning, go to Edgeworth, not Wright. I'm sure Edgeworth wouldn't know what this means either. So, 67S-12-2. Maybe that's the date, December 2nd. So this appears to be the car where the body was found. It looks like the lock on the trunk was busted. The crime took place in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The body was found in the trunk of my subordinate's car. It's quite a luxury car. It just screams, I have money to burn. Yeah, prosecutors get the big bucks. So this rope, is it? Yep, they laid it in the outline of the victim's body. So wait, the victim must have died when the killer closed the trunk on him. So you have got to be the only person I know that would come to that conclusion. Right. Oh, I didn't even notice it was like in the shape of a person. I didn't even. Okay. Scientific analysis would suggest this belonged to the victim. I can't think of anyone else it could belong to. What's so scientific about that? Should we check it out? Okay, so let's check it out, of course, always. Right, let's check it out. All right, so let's look at it. There we go. All right, so let's turn it around. Oh, let's do that. There we go. Said, this phone's still on. The radio screen. Radio. Oh, redial. I'm so illiterate. Oh my God. Okay, it said, Mr. Wright, most phones keep a record of all the calls you've made and received. You just press the blue button to display the last number you called. Convenient, isn't it? I'm surprised you didn't know about it. Sorry to disappoint you, but even I know about things like redial. Said, Oh, I'm sorry. It's just you never know with people from your generation. Whatever. Let's check this phone out. Oh, she called him old. Okay, so let's go ahead and press it. It said, now, to see who the owner of this phone called last. Note to self, a defense attorney doesn't think first, he just pushes a button. Yes. Bet. Gonna catch these killers. Yes. He said, hey, that song, I know that. He said, hey, what's going on over there? Oh, he said, sorry. I see you, partner. You pressed redial on that there phone, didn't you? Well, yeah. He said, whose phone is this anyway? It was on the ground over there. He said, whose is it? That belongs to Chief Prosecutor Scott. What? It's my sister's? Said she apparently dropped it when she was taken into custody right after the crime. Look, the last call was made right when the murder occurred. Looks like she was fixing to call someone. Except she only spoke for a few seconds, according to this. Who did she call? No idea. Sorry, partner. Now I got a question for you, partner. I heard a phone ring just now. One of those new fangled ringtones. Oh, that? Oh. He said, I'm sorry, that was my phone. He said, what? Your phone? Yeah, it's kind of strange, but someone called me right as we picked up the other phone, a wrong number. He said, I hope you're not lying. They shoot you for that in Texas, partner. Aren't you from Cali? Like, I don't know. Okay, so I've incited the wrath of the Lone Star Patrolman. Property of Lana Sky, last call made at 5:18 on the day of the murder. So that was a few minutes after the murder. The B block is over there. That's where visitors park. I can see the lunch land. Okay. That's not evidence. All right. Says, Officer Marshall, could you tell us more about the victim? Said, good men always die young. Remember that, partner. Said, could you be a little more specific? Said, Bruce Goodman, he was a detective, right? Well, aren't you a feisty dog in there now? Detective Goodman was stabbed here at 5:15. Smiling Madonna told me to tell. I think he means the witness, Miss Angel Star. Said, one stab to the chest. Fine piece of work. This here's the autopsy report. Okay, so a death due to a loss of blood. One knife wound. died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. Died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m.? So it died at 4:30, so it was carried there. Huh. Was my sister involved with the victim in any way? Said, funny you should mention that, Bambina. Chief Prosecutor Sky and Detective Goodman had nothing in common at all. Said, nothing in common? Said, they apparently worked together on the case a few years back, so there's no motive. Goodman wasn't a particularly gifted detective. That's one reason why he didn't do much work with the Chief Prospector. But my sister called the victim here on the day of the murder, right? Here to this parking lot. So it seems, like calling an unarmed man to a shootout at high noon. See what I'm saying? Look, he's just like Cassidy from Overwatch. High noon. Said, I don't mean any offense, but Officer Marshall, you're a patrolman, right? Not a detective. You calling me out, they shoot you for that in Texas. Said, I was one of them fancy shooting detectives till 2 years ago, to tell you the truth. Oh, really? Now he tells me. He said, but you're a patrolman now, so how can you be in charge of a crime scene? He said, nothing gets by you, does it, Bambina? So why are you in charge? I said, no reason. We're just short on hands right now. I'm keeping an eye out in the meantime. That's odd, though. Detective Gumshoe was saying he had nothing to do, nothing important at least. Said he's nothing but a sad old cow dog that can't find his tail. Said maybe it's because he runs with that Edgeworth, eh? Oh, Edgeworth. That cow dog's been kicked out of this cattle run by order of the chief of police. Just he don't realize it yet. The Detective Gumshoe kicked out of the investigation, huh? So there's no connection between Detective Goodman and my sister. So that's correct, but there's a gold mine of evidence against her. And the prospect tomorrow is none other than Edgeworth himself. I'm afraid your sister's favorite side of Bambina. Many condolences. Oh my God. This is Officer Marshall. Yeah, Bambina. How can you say that? You and my sister, is there something between this cop and her sister that I don't know about? He said, I apologize, Bambina. Something must have gotten to me. Maybe it's that dry wind that's blowing through the prospector's office. Dry wind or ill will? Someone's up to something here, but who? Suspicions about Mr. Edgeworth has been flying around for nearly 2 years now. Forged evidence and rearranging testimonies, you mean? He was unbeatable because he did whatever it took to win. Unbeatable, that is, until he met you. But rumors are just rumors, aren't they? These are prospectors we're talking about. Evidence is everything to them. If you follow the rumors about Edgeworth to their source, you find one person. But they're off limits, untouchable, you might say. One person? Who? Hate to say this, but it's your sister, Bambina, Chief Prospector Atlanta Sky. I said, what? My sister? Edgeworth couldn't wrestle all those cattle by himself. Some people load their guns with bullets, some people load them with deals. What you're saying, Edgeworth was making deals to win trials? Where there's gunshots, there's bound to be bullets. That's what the old timers say. There's a big old secret hidden around here somewhere, everyone knows it. Is that why Detective Gumshoe was taken off the case? Did they target him because he was closest to Edgeworth? So, well, how are we doing, Mr. Wright? I guess we've got some clues. We have an autopsy report, a note from the victim, and a cell phone. So you think we'll be okay? Well, the only thing still bothering me is that Lana's confessing to the crime. She says she did it. No problem. I can guarantee that she's not the criminal. Oh, by the way, Emma? Yes? I know that song your phone plays when it rings. What? It's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? That popular TV show for kids? The phone that rang earlier wasn't mine. It was yours. So at 5:18, just after the murder took place, your sister called you, didn't she, Emma? So Emma, we hiding evidence? Emma? Huh? What's scientific about that? Huh? You know what, Emma? I'm looking at you weird. Looking at you really weird, okay? I'm sorry. Can you tell me what you talked about? She hung up right away. I see. So she called her sister. Now I'm looking at you sideways. A detective is murdered and the suspect is the top prosecutor in the district. I've got a bad feeling about this. Like maybe I still don't know everything that went on here. I have a bad feeling about it too. She's gonna be up on a witness stand very soon. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Said, don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes, a defense attorney should never believe their client. So the defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. The sky, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her, and that is, you're not a defense attorney. He said, I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. Yeah, they made them a little too similar to me. He said, my first trial without a Faye helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. She practically looks like her. Said, I'll be all alone in there, so I have to discover the truth all by myself. Said, let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. See, now I have assistance. All right, let's get this thing going. All right, big ass judge, what's up? Said, court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. To Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. Said, I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I said, I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime, a professional witness. Please. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls his first witness, Miss Angel Star, to the stand. The cough-up queen? Yep, let's get it over with. She never saw it. She said that she heard it. Said, I haven't seen you somewhere. Said, hey, you ordered the caviar lunch, right? It said caviar. I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. Is he really eating in the middle of this court? I said, and for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl. He said, thanks. Will the witness say her name is professional? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? Said, it's too early for lunch. Your name, profession, please. Said, well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. See, this is why I don't like the judge. Why are we eating caviar in the middle of a court case? You are the most unprofessional judge I've ever met. Get off the stand. I've always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. So what the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Is it name, profession, now? Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm still not finished eating. Are you serious, Judge? Are you serious, bitch? We gotta wait until you finish munching down so we can get to the fucking... This is why he's... I had to check and make sure that he was on the damn list. This is why you're not coming home. Said, hurry it up. Said, well, very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. Said, what exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Mrs. Star was a detective? He said, I know who you are. Cough up Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see. He said, very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. Okay, the parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with his knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. But she only heard stuff. He said, witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright, I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. Said, wait, are they talking about me? Are they teaming up? Okay, all right, let's pick it apart. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. He said, through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garnished car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching. That's the only part you pay attention to? So as you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I said, I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. All right, so let's go. Said you sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? Said it felt like, how would you say? Oh yes, it was like the feeling you would get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim Mr. Bruce Goodman also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. A young cheese? A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. Then I must be hard yellowed and sharp as a tack. You're not, Judge. You're old and moldy, okay? Full of holes, bitch. You're just not usable. You're expired, okay? Stop. He said, yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, there, in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Said, by garnished car, garish. I said garnish. Said, Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth. Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's, wasn't it? So indeed it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. We're dealing with Edgeworth here. I need something more substantial than that. Can you tell us what the suspect was doing when you saw her? And tell me more about the knife that the suspect was carrying. Said, well, I say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? Is it your knife after all? I said, yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are by nature well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. I love how, like, as we're going through this, she's like doing a soft plug of like her promo for her business. As we're talking, she could just be an influencer. Can't testify as her ability to kill an egg. I mean, a person. Perhaps the chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. He said, I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is it this? Is my sister guilty? He said, let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. He said, don't smile like that. He said, this boyfriend, he's a detective? He said, not that boyfriend, a security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes. This boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? Ooh. The yet another boyfriend position is still not open for applicants. He said, I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot in A block. It's up to the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunch boxes by car? He said, since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. I don't think so. How does she see it? How does she see it if there's a big wall there where the thing is? Hold on, let's check that. Because there's a wall there in the security, so she couldn't have seen it. Because there's a wall blocking it. Is there a way? He said, Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? He said, I'm not sure I follow. It clearly aw, damn it. Damn it, I know what I'm trying to say, damn it. How can she see if the wall is there? Lord Jesus Christ. He said, how did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted, given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim. Killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Said, Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. Said, to me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me, I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. Cream on the inside, cream on the outside. I'm sorry, that reminded me of that. It said, that was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could try plagiarism. Jesus. Said, I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. It says, a photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. Said, I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. It said, witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? Do you think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. Said, my boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. So let's see. It says, uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. So she's wearing something, but she has gloves and blood. Says, so what was the defendant doing at the time? So now we can present the photo because she wouldn't even have it. She didn't even have a knife in her hand at all. Yeah, she didn't. So let's go ahead and present that. Objection! There we go, the music stopped. Said, and you witnessed this? You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with a knife? Said, as I've already said, yes, I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. Bitch, look at the... She said, but isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. He said, this is the photograph you took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife? He said, your thoughts? Objection. What? That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. How do you know? How can you tell that? The blood splatter. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's black and white photograph. We said, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. He said, no problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? Y'all, I just had a very weird premonition in my mind. So I'm thinking that one of her boyfriends helped her with this photo because he's in the photo department of the criminal thing, right? Couldn't he doctor it on purpose to make it look like it was bloody so that way he can make his girlfriend happy by putting another prosecutor in jail to set her up? That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. He said, wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. He said, well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. He said, that's it? He said, if you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. He said, good advice, but I'm not sure I understand it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. How, girl? Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely? Why would she have those on? Maybe because it's cold. What about it's chilly outside? It said, if it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. What? How do y'all know her fashion sense? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How? These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder, serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Oh my goodness. He said, impressive. I'm sorry they took you to the off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. She's got them all thinking this was all planned. He said, witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell boxed lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife, the knife. The knife that was stuck in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. It said, indeed, it was my knife. It said, what's with this case? Yeah, they're like, what's going on? The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district. Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon? He said, oh, right, the knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. He said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Drop them lunches, girl, because that doesn't make any sense. Good order. Great. Now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Not with Edgeworth. Said, right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. He said, the prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove, nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now, but you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it what? Oh, good. He said, I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? He said, my powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. He said, really now? Right, I'm saying, she always used to say that she heard it. She never said she saw it. He said, Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in it again and again. Oh, you're lying now. Because it said it was only one stab. Okay. No, it does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine. Oh no, we know exactly what to get. Because, bitch, it was only one stab, not many. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's present this, because it says one knife wound. Right, one. Said, you say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss, bitch, I don't want that green shit. Get it away. He said, I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. He said, what do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. He said, you're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. Didn't I point that out? What? He said, what a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed? Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm the one that did it. He said, well, witness. Girl, nobody wants your stuff. He said, you got the crime scene, right? He said, oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood, but now I realize that such mistakes are possible. Oh, so you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. So then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Excuse me. How do you know it's red? Okay, you know what? Hold on. What are you talking about? Is it her red muffler? Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck, so she can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose. She's right. Miss Skye was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But wait, isn't it odd that you mistook that for splattered blood? He said, well, people often mistake my beard for what? A carpet? A rug? A sheep? What? It said for a bed. It said a judge with a bed. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes. Actually, no, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. It said, however, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound. Right. Apparently, Miss Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance. Chance for what, I wonder? Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick will burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. So you said that, but you haven't told us how you know. That's what I'm about to tell you, rookie. Because I believe what she just said was a mere prelude to the story she's about to tell. Try not to interrupt her again. Rookie. Never interrupt the storyteller. It's like pulling a bun out of the oven half-baked. Something's half-baked here, all right, and it's you. Try not to confuse the defense witness. Is that they're not very quick on their feet. Now, why did you believe the suspect had intentions to murder the victim? Her actions speak for themselves. Let's press that. You have no proof that Miss Skye called him there. Said you have no proof that she didn't. He said, Mr. Edgeworth, thoughts? There's no record of a call made on the defendant, Miss Lana Skye's phone. Said she might have written him a letter. Come on, you could have tried the public phone first at least. In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. I'm sure he had a reason to be there. Witness, why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day? He said, what kind of grudge? Well, I wouldn't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have a grudge. Rookie. What? He said, I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? He said, how am I supposed to know? See? We agree there's a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree? I get it. That's why my lunch was so salty. This judge isn't very good with metaphors. Said the suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple. She's not even wearing it. She's not even wearing it. No. Let's present that. She's not even wearing it. He said, Miss Starr, I demand an objection. He said, the witness is clearly not suited for detective work. He said, what? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? He said, what? That can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Ooh, that was a burn. That was shade. He said, harsh words, but good. He said, in the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? He said, but it was there, a scarf. No, not that, but something red, really. He said, well, now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? He said, very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part, y'all, if y'all hear me, like, stutter over my words, I'm sorry. It's this Invisalign, man. It's making me all over the place. Like, so I'm sorry. The part where your sister stabs the victim. He said, this next testimony might just be the moment of truth. Okay, what you gotta say now? Says after the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile. So you're quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? Said, I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Starr. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. Girl, come on now. How can we even believe this? Very well, your cross-examination. He said, so where is this partition on the floor plans? He said, I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. He said, and what did you do then? He said, I quickly caught her and explained her rights to her. And how'd you do that if you was on the other side? He said, you say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her from what? Yeah, press her, please. Because you was on the other side of the fence. I like to see this on the floor plans just to be safe. Lunchland car was over there in B. She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here. That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Starr? I said, yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I said, I went over it, of course. Amazing. The Carlfoot Queen, a lunch lady, athlete indeed. So it would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence. So she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Right. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? Yeah, how did you? So she mentioned a muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. So anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word? So what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean, nah, let's keep pressing. By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at this crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately, my memory is like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr. The chief prosecutor's first attempt to use the phone came on the wall. On the wall? That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order. And so she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? I said, you should, of course, add this to your testimony. The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Okay, so the word muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma, but Emma didn't get it. It says, do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? I said, aha, I was going to ask the same thing. I only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. Okay, the chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. She then picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. How do you know that? And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. He said, and you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? Right, there's no way that you could have seen that. Yeah, let's present that. There's a whole wall there, so there's no way you saw it. He said, Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Longstaff. And you do. I said, the witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor prosecutor? You, who together with the chief prosecutor kicked me out 2 years ago. He said, well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me and I'll make you cough it all up. Bitch, I'm not scared, okay? Please, you're just as soft as your rice balls. Stop playing with me. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at, right? Big ass wall. Listen, that emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Exactly. So what are you talking about? Order. What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. Yup. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about, he said she lied about what she saw. In other words, she didn't see Miss Sky using that emergency phone. It does seem hard to imagine how she could have. Very logical. He said, what's the matter, Star? Cat got your lunchbox? Mr. Wright, I hate to bother you while you're celebrating your victory, but why would Miss Star lie like that? Why would she say that my sister had tried to use the phone but failed? It doesn't make any sense. Why lie about something so insignificant? Oh, dang, she's right. I mean, maybe she really did see her try to use the emergency phone? That I see no room for doubt here. Oh my God, what? It said you ordered the patooey on rice, right? It said, Mr. Wright, and I thought you had, what? He said, one more try. Are you serious? Okay, I guess the order of events. She lied about the order of events. Miss Sky used that emergency phone before the murder. I see, I hadn't thought of that. That took the wind out of her. Oh my God! Oh my God, I hate this game. I hate this game so much. Oh, she saw it up top. Okay, she tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Star to lie about it. Pointless to lie, I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Star witnessed the crime from a different location. She did, from up in the security area. A different location. So now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard of it. said, before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. Okay, it is here. All right, yep, right there.
Take that!
It said this is the only place where she could have been. Is it a security guard room? Indeed, a security room in underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on a second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in a security guard room, right? Well, Miss Starr? Yup, he said, how many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Starr. Exactly, she lying. So let's go. Get her out of here. And witness, what have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. No, it doesn't. He said, it still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Me? He said, who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. So Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station, right? But she lied and said she saw it from the B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? She was saying that it was like 30 feet, though. We already lost some lives, so let's just try it. Let's see. So it changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. Said, my condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. He said, what she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. It said, Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky? Well, yes? No, girl, I don't want your food. I don't want your food. Put it away. It's nasty. He said, you ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for the boyfriend. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass wall station. Then you walked around? And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. So how did you get her? You jumped out? You ran all the way around? So that's why I had to go through the visitors parking in B block. That's quite a detour. Right. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? You lying. You lying. He said this changes things considerably, but it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point, and a spork is a wonderful invention. Girl, nobody wants that. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. He said, Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Yes, I do. Raise an objection because she called her sister at 3 minutes after. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time if you like it al dente. Said, I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. What does that mean? What does that mean? A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange. If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey, don't get the wrong idea. He said, but you had the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Sky dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. He said, yeah, right. Who would do that for 5 minutes? Who would stay there? Said, well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it. We screwed that. Can shut, Mr. Wright. He said, that was too close. I almost lost. Afraid that the Coffin Queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. Thank you. Let's keep it moving. Oh, Lord. What's up? What? Girl, don't. Nobody wants your food. Nobody wants your food. Get the fuck out the courtroom. Get the fuck out the courtroom. Get out. That's the one she tried to foist off on me. Said I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? Said I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. I said, what? What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Ah. Said, is this your jumbo lunchbox? Oh, a triple decker. It said, out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the lunch lad motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time? What else is there to say? Like, come on, girl, give it up. God. Said, I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye. How do you know? How do you know? Said, this shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. How do you know? He said, what? There was blood found on that shoe? To try Lunchland for all of your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Girl, can we not? What's up with the shoe? Said, witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple, as I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed. Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? He said, you must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, so is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You could at least study some evidence law, really. Excuse Emma, study your science, okay? Leave me alone, all right? He said, the prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. So, it's a white enamel shoe, bears trace of blood from Goodman and Lana Skye. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. But Lana's hand was cut, though. He said, I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. You should have. He said, why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it? But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with. Right. We should just not even be listening to her right now. So I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with the shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you in your lunchbox bag, really. So in any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now, tell us what you did next. He says, so you brought it to the forensics department. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. But she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman. As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the defendant with the blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, Rookie? Huh? He said, well, speak up. Well, blood comes in 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. Hello? So that's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person, or so I hear. So that's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone's but Miss Lana Sky's. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. Girl, nobody wants that, no. He said, some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. He said, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? Is that a problem? This is critical. There's a problem. Let's just say there is. So if I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence, a clear contradiction. So that gleam in your eyes, you're still young, Rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now, but you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence. Okay. So the problem is there's blood underneath as well. The blood underneath? Why is there blood on the bottom of the shoe then?
Take that!
He said, I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, Rookie, or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Huh. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be the contradictory blood? Okay. It's the fact that there's no blood on the scene.
Take that!
There's no blood there. He said the problem lies in the footprint. He said the footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe was covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. No, it couldn't. So then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Exactly. So let us know. He said, order. Well, witness, wait. It's a great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction, but then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Said, hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? So what is it? Because I really don't. I'm trying to figure it out now. Said, I see. Now I get it. So can we share with the class? Like, can we come on? He said, our witness is more devious than I have gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. Okay. He said, I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. He said, no kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? He said, oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth, though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness, well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. How? He said, water? What does that mean? He said, still don't get it, Mr. Wright. Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Honestly, you don't mean. Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the blood stains that would become evidence against her. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, So that ties things up quite nicely. The blood stains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. He said, that reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. See? But I don't have evidence for that. Didn't she say she cut herself when she stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on her shoe. Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please. What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But it's enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Star is on the prosecution side. She could have been lying about the water. Oh my God. It said this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Right. No, you don't. Hold it. Oh? You said little girl. What did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you just say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. I said, well, I thought you had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence. What? Witness, don't tell me you have something else. She has something else all the time. So the time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. It said, your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. So look at this. Oh, a new photo? Okay. It said, a photograph. It said, I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait, look at the asphalt in this photo. Hey, it's clearly wet. It said, erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. So I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. What? It said, I'm sorry, Mia. He said, right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. He said, get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. See, she always comes through. Like, I like Mia, but let's try to win something on our own. I don't know. Just to me. Like, I just want to win on my own instead of her ghost self coming back and be like, you got it. You can do it. And then I figure it out. Like, come on. He said, this is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. No. He said, Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? He said, whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, right. Are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah. I'll think later. He said, yeah, there's a problem. He said, right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph. What is that? What is that and why? Hold on. Because first of all, I thought that when he died, right? I thought that his body was right here. Like laying out of it. Not laying like that. It looks like his body was positioned. And what is this? Because what is that? He said, the problem is this photograph in here. He said, what's this? There's something poking out the car's muffler. He said, wait, just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. He said, a muffler is also part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. He said, what's that suspicious looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yes, it does. He said, sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. He said, what? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case. Because you was talking about that shit the whole time. The word muffler was overheard during the phone call. Okay, so that one. He said, Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Because there was something in there. It said, yep, yep. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh, whoa. Yeah, you're caught now. Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? Yep, I suppose so. He said, woo, that was close, but we made it, at least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. You still hungry, bitch? You just ate at the stand. Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Are trials always like this with you? Yes. They will always be long. They will always last to the third day. And we will never figure out what's actually happening because people always withhold evidence. Yes, this is how it always happens. So, like, you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake, about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Said, hola, partner. Oh Lord, here we go, Cassidy. It says, they say you show a red cloth to a boy, it'll fire up his temper. That's what they told me when I was youngin', at least. Thought I'd come take a look, see that how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They've got the home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What is going on over there anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall, the whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarf. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. Look at you drinking. He said, you don't say. Now, don't that just beat all? Huh? He said, I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day, too. She was wearing a red muffler. I said, what? At the award ceremony that afternoon. Edgeworth seen it, too, I'd reckon. He said, what does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So was that her scarf put in the car? He said, so Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns, and sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. I said, huh? I said, I have a bad feeling about this. He said, so, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? He said, if it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Ooh-wee. I'd like to resume. He said, what's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Oh, shit. Is something wrong, Miss Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets, that furrowed broad brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more? He said, it can't be. This can't happen. I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. He said, well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our research, it said, this is unacceptable. What is? It said, it seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. It said, excuse me, knock knock? Judge? I said, who's there? Who the fuck is this? Who is this? He said, what's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Who are you? Who is this man? He said, hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. He said, who on earth is he? He looks like a not real person. Like, he looks like, I don't know, like the brother of Thanos. Like, I don't know, like. Hello? It's you. Who are you? Don't look at me like that. Who are you? He said, sorry, I'm late, Udgy. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see. Udgy, how you been? Swim much these days? He said, hello? No, I've been so busy. Busy, smizzy, Udgy. My boy, you have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Udgy seems to be his nickname for the judge. I'm afraid you're right. I'm very afraid. I'm sorry, but who are you? He said, so you're Rido, the attorney. I've heard very good things about you, son. Rido, thanks. So sorry about our little worthy giving you all that trouble, eh? He said, we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly. Little worthy? He said, Mr. Wright. He said, you don't know the district chief of police? That's the chief of police? Why does he look like this? He's a chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Why is he looking at me like this, though? Like, why he looking like he's trying to get some? It said, name's Gantz. Damon Gantz. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's Worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Starr wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But to think that it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. On little Worthy's car, no less. Why does he keep looking at me like this? I feel so uncomfortable. He said, it's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What's this? It's what you call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing. He said, Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth, how could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. He said, I have no desire to hear you, so I'm telling you to wait. Oh, didn't you hear me? He said, have a look at this document where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature is there, Miles Edgeworth. That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had your head in the clouds because you got that reward. He said, I know how you feel, but you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. Oh, he said, this is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. Right. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. He said, the court accepts this new evidence, but I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure. I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... He said, if I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point at the people anymore. He said, come on, just hurry up and open it. Okay, damn, all right. Yo, the way I thought that I was doing it for a second, and I'm not. All right, so, oh, wait a minute, what is that? What is that? He said, there's a small tag on this knife. It seems to say SL92. He said, what does this mean? Well, I've heard something similar. DL6 of the DL6 frames, but it's strange. Huh? What is? I'm not certain, but I can't get the feeling I've seen it somewhere before. We have, on that little note was there. Letters like this, or letters that looked a lot like this somehow. Huh. Yeah, we did. We did. All right. He said, he said, don't scare me like that. He said, look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? So, found at the crime scene wrapped in the defendant's muffler. Small tag attached. That's the same thing that we saw in that little memo, right? He said, this does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. He said, I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and police and this knife? Sure thing, not a problem, not even a little one, really. Something's up with this man. Why is he so orange? You stay too long out in the sun? What happened? This knife is special, but I can't say how here, unless there's evidence to prove a connection between the knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See? What a mess. The time of the crime? 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. I have some evidence, I think so. Said there was a murder at the police department, a detective? That's hush-hush information, Udgy. We haven't exactly announced it yet. So what does that have to do with it? He said, wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. So like I said in the beginning, 2 crimes at the same time in the beginning. Said anyway, we were at the department where we're all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? Said I think we understand the police department situation. Well, Mr. Wright, 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. So, I have some evidence I think I do. Let me see.
Objection!
Yes, it is. The music stopped. He said, wait a second. He said, at last, an honest to goodness objection. So this knife, this has to have something to do with Mr. Detective Goodman. What do you mean? An honest to goodness, what do you mean from Udgy? This is great. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important. Why? Over here, we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. If you turn it upside down, it said, what's this? 6 minus S7 S12 too? No, turn it upside down. It said, Your Honor, it's upside down. The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? SL9. Yep. It said, So whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing as written on the knife's tag. Yep, I saw that early on. Be paying attention. Is it well, Chief? Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto. I win? He said, what game is this guy playing? He said, this knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. The detective was killed in the department. He said, on the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? He said, that's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Udgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator, do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect, just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. I suppose I could help if you help me by giving me data on your case. Said, oh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. Oh, so I gotta choose? Okay. But we already know when the victim died. Well. Where the victim was found. Where the victim was found? He said, so tell me, where was the victim found? He said, well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? Wait a second, I've heard of that. The evidence room, didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? The knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. He said, there's a connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? He said, we just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. He said, Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. He said, you don't say. Well, out with it, Righto. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in the very same evidence room. Indeed, there do seem to be many connections for it to be a coincidence. Stop looking at me like this! I don't like it! He said, you two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. He said, Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet in all. He said, can we get the information unofficially? So, hello? He said, sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? Okay. He said, I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay? Why not? He said, if you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? He said, well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh, well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. So, the victim's ID number, the victim's division. Division. He said, okay, well, what division was the victim stationed in? He said, oh, you want to know that, do you? Do you? He said, Criminal Affairs, Division 1. The detective's responsible for homicide cases. Homicide, that would be the same division as Detective Gumshoe. Detective Goodman, who was killed in the underground parking lot, was homicide too. It's almost like a serial killer was after homicide detectives, except this serial killing happened simultaneously, scientifically speaking. Well, I sure hope Detective Gumshoe isn't the next one on the list. 2 detectives were killed at 5:15. One at the prosecutor's office and one at the police department. That can't be a coincidence. And that knife, was that it? What was it doing there? I'd better check this knife out. So this knife was stolen. Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say. Was it in fact a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice. Good show, little worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved. So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder, and it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. So something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look in your eyes there, right, oh my boy? Sharp. So something did happen, and why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? He said, no matter, I understand. You were busy with Lana's case and all. He said, well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? He said, how was the detective killed? He said, how was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit we're cooking now. But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. It seems like I'm going to have to press this a little bit harder. So when did the murder at the police department occur? So now that's a sharp question, right? Oh, very sharp. Well, my boy, you're gonna love this. Time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? He said 5:15, but that's when Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. He said, what are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident. Okay, let's see the victim's ID number. He said, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? He said, sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it's from. He said, of course, you won't tell me their name after all. He said, we keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189. Hold up, bitch. Is that the same one as this? 5842189. Oh, there's no way. 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 He said, well, that's quite long. He said, and we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. He said, 82? I can't do it. He said, you didn't even get the first number right. He said, well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? The ID number of the victim at the police department. It tells me something. Yep. He said, actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. He said, meaning? He said, it has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? He said, well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. I have a theory. Was Goodman killed at the police department, then put in the trunk, and then was supposed to be taken out by someone? What if it was just one murder, but it looks like it was like done twice? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me see. It said witness. He said, what is it, Mr. Wright? He said, you're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just I got confused. He said, and this is news? Huh? He said, just come out with both guns blazing like you always do. He said, all right, here we go. The police department, the prosecutor's office, 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. He said, actually, I happen to have a police ID number right here. Oh, is it yours? No, Your Honor, I'm a defense attorney, remember? He said, this is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. He said, shame on you, Righto. Personal IDs are top secret. So Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189. Uh-huh. He said, and this means exactly what? Were you paying attention? Oh my God. He said, wait. He said, the ID number we heard from the chief earlier, that started with 82. I've forgotten. You didn't even get the first number right again. He said, the number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. He said, wait a second, Wright. What is this? He said, that means what I want to know. He said, the 2 ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. He said, what does our witness think about that? He said, oh, sharp as attack, Righto, sharp as attack. He said, but wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He said, he was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. No, he wasn't. He said, yet a detective, Bruce Goodman, was also killed at the police department. Yo, okay. What if he was killed at the police department and then somebody opened up, or maybe it was Lana opened up the trunk, saw the knife, or maybe Bruce saw the knife, right? Maybe Bruce saw the knife that was stolen out of the evidence room and it was stabbed against him, and maybe he had enough time to like write the name of the knife, knowing that Lana was going to get it, and she was pulling it out, and maybe that's what cut her, and maybe that's how it got on his shoe. Both of their blood. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Like, okay, all right. He said in the evidence room at the exact same time. He said that's impossible. So what you're saying is the same person was killed at the same time and in a completely different location? I think that he was killed over there, but he was still dead. He said, order, chief, what does this mean? He said, no. What I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case. Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. He said, Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait, I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? Oh my God, this is the oversight, the grave error. Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. He said, what? How? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news. Is it Officer Meekins? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait. Oh, him. I forgot all about him. Yep, I forgot all about you, sir. You said you don't mean him? So according to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said that report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. You should have looked at it, Edgeworth. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say here. So why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making that connection. He did seem challenged. Not her calling him stupid. Oh my goodness. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. He said, don't you come for my job. He said, but sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then Stop looking at me like this, God. I hate this so much. Hurry up. Sir, he said, no such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say unworthy? What? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law? Well, Mr. Wright? Oh, well, it's rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. Oh, true. It said the connection was just proven by Rido over here. Good job, Rido, my boy. Huh? It said I was just doing my job. No. Well, he has a point. He had to just see if we could do it. It seems we have come to the end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy, with all those rumors. You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. Oh, so I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened. If it's the last thing I do, you'd better get results this time, really. You have my profound apology, sir. Poor Edgeworth. He said, I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. It said, very well. Court is adjourned. Judge, you wanted to talk. You really talking like you like the best judge out here. You was about to stop the court because you would have to eat some lunch, bitch. Mr. Wright, so what's going on with the case anyway? I'm a little confused. Huh? Well, let's see. What is going on? The victim, Detective Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died in the prosecutor's parking lot in the police department's evidence room. He said, what's this and the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car. He said, well, that's what we're going to find out, or try to at least. All right, let's do it. Glad she's in good spirits, but I'm not sure she's going to be much help with this. Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright. Huh? Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go. Science awaits us. Okay, all right, whatever you say, Miss Man. You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares? Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in their evidence room. No biggie. He said, besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it. That oil drum, was it empty? Uh-huh. He said, my sister erasing evidence at the crime scene? Never. Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister. That's not it at all. It's just, we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her. Can she read my mind or something? He said, big words for a high school student. He said, well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away. He said, ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright. Huh? What's that grin for? This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminol testing fluid. That's what I was thinking too. I was just like, if they were really forensics experts, they'd know that blood doesn't just go away with water. Like, you have to do a lot to completely take blood away, like as far as like DNA and everything on the surface. So a lot of people not good at their jobs. Even I know that. He said, blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there. See what I said, y'all? See what I said? He said, but wouldn't the police have already done those tests? Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Just give it a try. Me? Why do I have to do it? I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet. We're testing blood stains with this stuff, not drinking it. He said, here, look, I'll lend you these glasses. Huh? You had an extra pair of those things? Oh, are those glasses, ultraviolet glasses or like black light glasses or something that she could see the traces of blood with? Yep. He said, to test for blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see? Press the X button to spray it on. Okay, let's find us some blood stains. All right. So let's look over there. Yep, we found some. Yep, there it is. He said, I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So is this a blood stain? If so, he said, Emma, you're shaking. It's just, this is my first time seeing real blood. Scientific investigation in action. Okay, well, we definitely know this is a blood stain. But doesn't something strike you as odd, scientifically speaking, of course? What's odd about this? The location of the blood or the amount of blood? The location? He said, why the blood stain's location, of course, is elementary. He said, huh? Why is that elementary? I mean, I would think that if there was a fight, you'd expect some blood stains here. I suppose you might think that. Come on, Mr. Wright, we're all counting on you. Okay. If it's not, maybe it's the amount of blood? So I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe. It is pretty strange. If they fought here, there'd have to be more blood than this. Said, hey, Mr. Wright, I'm gonna mark up the floor plans when we find a blood stain, okay? All right, cool. See, I'm pretty handy to have around, right? Yeah, and this stuff's pretty handy too. I saved up my allowance to buy that. All right, solution used for scientific investigation finds blood traces spray to use. Since we can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case. Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day. He said, it feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it? Guess I should give this a spray on anything suspicious. Oh? What, girl? He said, I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Starr, you only trust your own eyes. Not bad, you two. I don't want your food. He said, this day-old deli box is on the house. Sorry, it's just that kind of lead-in doesn't really get my mouth watering. So, what do you want? Certainly put me in a tight spot today. My apologies, Miss Starr, but no, it's okay. It was my fault. I said, oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right there. But I was afraid that wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see. I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry. Sorry? You lied on the witness stand. That's unforgivable. Yeah. He said, little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Sky stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. He said, I swear it on my honor as a detective, she stabbed Goodman. I said, oh my God. I said, I know this photograph has something important to tell us, but what? He said, so you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr? Yes, it was a long time ago, well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal when they face me. Girl, don't mind, I'm tired of your hair flips. It's not doing anything. You are not Justin Bieber, okay? Settle down, all right? He said, they coughed it up. They coughed it up. They said they confessed. They babbled like babies. You know. I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too. I wouldn't doubt it. Every day, I dragged the dirt of the mouths of suspect after suspect, and before long, they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from young. That's what I thought. I thought that they got food poisoning, and that's why they called her the cough-up queen. Like, she put something in there. And you were let go or fired? It's all because of that case, the SL9 incident. SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean... Man, come on. Okay. He said, what do you think about this? The SL9 incident is written on that knife. And on that note, Goodman was the head detective on that case, you know. Really? That knife was evidence from that case, the murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected, SL9 isn't over, not yet. Do you think you could tell us more about the SL whatever? Is there any blood over there? Oh. Blood on the phone. Huh. Oh wait, that's probably Mia's. So this blood must be from when Lana... No, my sister isn't the murderer. But she did call you, didn't she? At the time of the crime? And her right hand is bandaged. Hey, just whose side are you on? This has nothing to do with taking sides. So this means that Lana's hand had blood on it. This just keeps getting worse. If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered sometimes. So you went straight to the scene of the crime. I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this photo, yes. In other words, 5 minutes after the crime. Said those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. The whole 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Starr. You lying was the problem. Listen, little girl, I've had my testimony disregarded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time. That time. So you gonna talk about it? All right, there we go. Said that incident really opened my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable to who? 2 years ago, it was the biggest case I've ever handled. Oh, looks like Marshall was there. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So, they didn't solve it? On the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and exhausted. Executed. Said yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was they never did find decisive evidence, not a shred. What? But the criminal was executed, right? On the basis of evidence of a sort, made up evidence. What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? Said the best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those? Myself and one other person you know well, the Western dude. He said, wait, could it be? The Western dude. He said, exactly, Detective Jake Marshall. Oops, I mean Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall. So let's talk about him. As professional detectives, we investigated that case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined, and then it was over, and he was demoted. However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I. You haven't forgotten SL9? There was another side to that case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us. Wait, those lunches you sell? I said, there's only one reason I have come to sell lunches in this accursed office. I came here to meet old friends, boyfriends that can help me investigate. Miss Starr's old boyfriends. How many does she have anyway? Girl, it sounds like she is for the streets, okay? C is for the asphalt, all right? Come on now. She's trying to get whatever she can, however she can get it. And the best way to a man's heart is to his stomach. So her cooking is fitting to do that. He said, just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence. He said, there has to be a connection. He said, so, rookie, what? It seems like you're serious about investigating this case. Yes. Oh, is that steak? He said, you should take this. A Salisbury steak lunch? I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. Oh, we know exactly who we're giving it to. Marshall. He said, Miss Starr, Officer Marshall, is he, are you his, are you going out? He said, why do you want to know? He said, I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. And he was nice to me too back then. This will be when Officer Marshall was a detective. But now he's so cold. Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that. Good, I see, thank you. Officer Jake Marshall. Alright, so let's go talk to him. So this place is charged with frantic energy as always. Please, huh? Wasn't that one steak lunch, please? Oh, it's you. Detective Gumshoe. Now's no time for chit-chat, pal. I'm a busy man. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland. Is it, oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale. Oh, I said, I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking. Now's no time for despair. We've caught our criminal. Now we just need evidence. The criminal, you mean? You heard about the stabbing in the police department evidence room, right, pal? It's the biggest scandal to hit the station in ages. Everything's topsy-turvy. But Detective Gumshoe, who was it? Listen, pal, all I know is I need me a steak lunch pronto. Standing around here talking isn't going to fill my belly. Alright, so you basically what we got on our hands. He said, wait, don't leave. If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figure he's down there having a good cry. Later. He said he ran off to the evidence room. Well, this investigation is off to a running start. So, can we go to the evidence room? I wonder. He said, still, I do feel better about things, a little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they? Yeah, I guess they did. Best to not go too far down that road right now. Things will just get confusing. Oh, he said, what was that? He said, sir, that's what I'm saying. Me, a perpetrator? A perpetrator? Perpetrator, goddamn, I can't say anything today. I said, I'd say I was perpetrated against, sir. That's what I say. Oh, it's that officer. Meeks? Meeks is his name? Yep, him. He said, hi, greetings, sir. He said, wait, I know who you are. Yep, that dude. He said, no, sir, I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman, like a little lost lamb, sir. He said, oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report. He said, no, sir, how should I say this? Isn't he? He said, you, Officer Meekins. I said, Meeks. He said, you didn't, did you? He said, perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir. He said, what? What? Now this is an unexpected turn of events. Okay, so what is going on with you? And why is your hand wrapped up? Huh? He said, sir, I'm a patrolman with general affairs, sir. Ow, I said, I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins. He said, I had some business that day, sir, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir. He said, so normally there's a guard at the evidence room. That's right, sir, because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir. Now, the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall. Marshall said, then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir. A suspicious person, sir. Okay, so what the heck is this guy doing? He said, so what happened then? After that, sir, everything went white. I saw red. I blacked out. And when I came to, I was here in the detention center. How long were you out? Days? Right. He said, might I ask, what happened to your hand? He said, sir, there was no one to bandage me, sir. You know what? I don't like him calling me sir so much. Like, it gives me like slave master vibes. Like, I don't know, but I don't like it. It feels icky. He said, so I did what I could to wrap it up, sir. He said, a bandage on his hand, just like Miss Sky. Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office. First things first, tell us how you hurt your hand. About your hand, did that happen during the course of the crime? He said, well, you see, sir. He said, don't you think you should just confess? But sir, but there was nothing I could do. Nothing you could do. Sir, to tell the truth, sir, when it happened, when a detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. He said, and the next thing I knew, I was unconscious. The next thing you knew, you were, huh? He said, then when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir, all alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared. What? Then when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hand, sir. Oh, the shock. Oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt? I can hear it. That's one thing. So the victim's body disappeared? Said, that's some story. See, I think that Goodman wasn't dead. Like, I think that he wasn't dead when he got stabbed in there, and he somehow made it to the police department. Well, not the police department, the other place. Where the prosecutors were, and he died there at the prosecutor's place. Like, it's a traveling death. Like, that's what I feel like it is. He said, I don't mean to pry, but you are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right? Sir, please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir. If you have to label me as perpetrator or victim, sir, then label me victim. He said, I would, but you happen to be in detention and alive and well at that. Yes, well, that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that. Did you know the victim, Detective Goodman? He said, well, sir, if I had to label him as a stranger or a total stranger, then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side. He said, so you didn't know him. Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of lights or other creature comforts. So I don't know any detectives. So, if he was a total stranger, why did you stab him? Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None. Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir. At least someone around here is more confused than I am. Huh. So, can you present him with something? Officer Meekins, this is for you. He said, I'm scared of knives, sir. It's okay. That's it. Last night, sir. That's the last one. He said, I was an apple, sir, in my dream, sir, and I was being peeled. So the one, on second thought, you don't have to look at the knife. Said he's overreacting to the knife, but I guess he's been through a lot, so he doesn't know about that. Said, do you think you could take a look at this? He said, hey, that's it, sir, that's it. That's what? He said, my head was a blank until this very moment. But sir, now I remember, sir. You mean you remember what happened? He said, correct, that card was the cause of it all. So this ID card? Exactly, sir, that's exactly it. Nothing could be more exact, sir, nothing. I better pry into this one a little deeper. All right, let's talk to you, buddy. Calm down. What's going on? Said, can you tell me what it is you do remember? Said, well, sir, you might say I'm a lost little patrolman, a lost little lamb, if you will. Okay, said, I didn't know Mr. Detective Goodman, who was in the evidence room. And that's why you thought he looked suspicious. Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card. Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far. That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do? That's the thing. Suddenly he pointed a knife at me. What? He said, sir, I assure you, I was as flustered as you are right now. This man is funny to me. I don't know why. He's just hilarious. He said, so I whooped it. He said, Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him? He said, do unto others before they do unto you. My own father's words, sir. He said, what happened then? He said, well, my eyes, sir. Everything went white. When I awoke, I was here. Right. So, Officer Meekins, why was it they arrested you? What do you mean, Emma? He said, let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman, and the victim whom he met at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't know if anyone actually died. That's it, sir. That's what I wanted to say. That is, I did say something along those lines. Huh? But you still ended up here? They told me that it had to be him, sir. On that day, at that time, Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said. But you don't remember the events clearly. No, but the videotape is quite clear. Huh? Videotape? From the security camera. The crime, my crime, the crime, I swore to stamp out. It's there, it's me, it's on tape. Listen, and you waited until now to tell us this? I'm sorry, really sorry, sir. I'll hand over my badge. I don't deserve it. I said, no thanks. I have my own. I said, well, guess we better go check out the crime scene. Okay, so let's move. Thank you, sir. You did a good job doing your job. I said, and you're sure this is all, huh? He said, you know what it means if there's anything missing. Sir, I'm sure it's most likely totally perfect. We checked all of this under the seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine. I see. Well, if anything does turn up, you call me right away, Dio. He said, yes, sir. We'll scour the place again, sir. The chief of detectives looks a little flustered. He said, righto, my boy. How you been? Swim much? He just looks like a villain, doesn't he? Like, he looks like a villain. He's wearing gloves that a killer would wear. He stares at you for so long. He's orange. He's over tanned. Like, he's the same color as his damn jacket. Like, this looks like a villain. He clearly doesn't care about his skin, and that is villainous. Like, is Ezra going to be okay? Oh, were they? Oh, you know, they're doing a little inquiry committee with him. It said, sounds like an inquisition. He said, well, they've had no end of trouble with the boys since last year. You mean the incident on Board Lake? It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendant's seat, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in that case, right, Righto? I sure did, his bitch ass. He said, a legend he was, undefeated in his 40-year career, but in court you fixed it, so he was caught for forging evidence. Wait, I didn't do anything wrong. He did forge evidence. In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of turmoil, you might say. why they do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy. What? So, let's talk about this. He said, it's downright odd, I tell you. The detective getting killed on their turf, too, I mean. Their being the prosecutors, I assume. Scientifically speaking, it's impossible. Yes, but that's what the evidence is saying. Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says. What evidence is this? Now, Righto, I can't give away all our secrets just like that. And this in particular, well, it's a little sensitive and I can't talk about it. I wasn't expecting much anyway. You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets. Can't stand them. But you know, it's a full-time job just keeping the chief of detectives trapped shut. Said he was the one you were picking on earlier? Huh? You saw that? Whoops. So I wonder what it was that he wanted the chief of detectives to do. So let's see if we can kind of discreetly ask him. Alright, let's see. Let's talk to him. He said, oh, sorry you had to see that. He said, what exactly did the chief of police want you to do? He said, well, see over there? That's Goodman's desk. He wanted me to check it for anything that might be a clue. They took away every last piece of garbage in the trash can. So nothing belonging to Detective Goodman is still here. Of course not. Well, except for this. Oh, what? You kept something? Sure, why not? It's not important. He didn't even finish writing it. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete. A lost item? Did Detective Goodman lose something? The date on it is February 21. Better make a note of that just in case. Oh, that's the same number. It said 221 on that note as well. That was upside down. So, it can only be submitted to the chief of police. I should really get back to investigating the police department crime scene. So, let's talk about the commission editor. He said, actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. He said, well, I never thought the day would come when Righto asked me for help. I was wondering if we could investigate the evidence room. Stop, sir. I don't want you. Stop looking at me like that. He said, now, Righto. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't need to investigate after all. Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? He said, huh? He said, heck, if anyone asks me, sir, can I borrow $50? I give them $50, no problem. Can I borrow $50, sir, please? I want to get something to eat. He said, so go ahead. Investigate that room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out. It just goes to show you, you never know until you ask. And for you, here, you can borrow this. Hey, this is a detective's ID card, isn't it? He said, that's a special card for guests, so don't lose it. Yes, sir, it's an honor. So you just run along and do your best now. Later, folks. He might be the killer high key. He might. He said, it looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID. You seem happy. Yes, sir, because, sir, we get to go into the evidence room now, sir. He said, I think this place is a bad influence on the girl. Okay, so let's move to the evidence room. Beyond that door, it says, and we have the ID card from Chief Gant. He said, let's just walk in. He said, it won't open. He said, the card reader is turned off, see? What is that security guard thinking? He said, howdy, partners. Well. What's made my Bambina sky so gray? He said, Officer Marshall, why does it have to be him? He said, what's that? Why does it have to be him for? As you may have surmised, this here's my saloon. He said, we're here to investigate the crime scene. He said, yeehaw, that card you got there on your chest, that's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. He said, yeehaw? He said, well, what you standing there for? Get along, little doggies, the crime scene's away. He said, looks like the card reader's on again. He said, while we're here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. He said, sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then? He said, did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres, but you're going to talk to us because we're going to give you some food, Greedy, so here you go. He said, that smell reminds me of Texas. He said, so, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas? He said, no, I just saw a special on television the other day. Is this for my baby? He said, yes, Miss Starr. He said, what's this? What? What's wrong? He said, a filet steak lunch? I see. He said, I don't see. I wonder what it means. Steak lunch was given to him, so what? He said, all right, Bambina, you win. Axe. He said, finally, it seems like. All right. He's willing to talk. All right, there we go. So now let's talk to him. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. Ah, that poor little doggy. Poor guy. I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly. He said he told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know? He said, so, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. He said he was riding down the highway on his horse named Zippy. He said there's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. He said, you mean the security camera system? He said, I don't mean to take machines much. He said, kind of like that stewed broccoli they sneak in next to your steak, you know? All right, sir, you need your vegetables, okay? You can't just eat just meat. He said, Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. So you're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? He said, that was my case. It's all solved on the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. He said, what kind of case was it anyway? We've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us exactly what happened. He said, there are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case? He said, that's right. The evidence transfers. Edgeworth was talking about the transferals too. So let's talk about that. Sorry, but could you explain what this whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years. So we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? So, what happens to the evidence after 2 years? It goes to sleep forever in the underground vault at the county sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated. And that happened to SL9 2 days ago. He said, I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. He said, only 2 of them? There must be a dozen. Like I said, Bambina, me and machines. He said, I like them as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest ones to understand are these here security cameras. Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned. If nothing happens, the tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of those tapes? I reckon they might be. He said, you're the security guard and you reckon? He said, one more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Thus the card reader by the door. The card reader leaves a record of every ID that passes through. Oh, okay, well that's good. Well, we know the 514 ones, so this is the ID card record. He said, hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Sorry, Bambina, I can't show you more than that. He said, huh? He said, I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. Mr. Wright, I saw a number on that record just now. I've seen that number before. Maybe there's some way I could prove that record is tied to the stabbing. I sure can. Maybe we can present him with this. He said, see this? This is the victim's ID card. He said, the one that was on the ground in the parking lot. The number on this is 5842189. He said, Officer Marshall, show us the ID card record again. Yep, that was right there at 5:14 p.m. And then again with somebody else's. Look, the 4th number, it's a perfect match. It was used at 5:14, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world. So, when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But wait, what did Officer Meekins say? He said, sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card and he didn't. If he had his ID card then, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? I said, all right, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. Thank you. Thank you so much. February 21st. That was the whole thing that we keep seeing all the time. Said, I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. Oh, okay. So, thank you very much. Thank you very go to the evidence room. Quiet. The investigation must be over here. So this is the evidence room. It really is kind of like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Those look like body lockers. They could be body lockers. So, oh, hello. He said, what are you doing in here? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. He said, I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So is it true what I heard? He said, please don't look like a selfish man. He said, go ahead and knock yourself out. Uh-huh. He said, yeah, it's true. He said, so chief of police dance. He said, we'll loan anyone $50, even me? Broke ass. Can you focus on the case at hand? This is why they kicked you out, okay? He said, so that's what we're talking about? Actually, I was put in charge of an investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. He said, first of all, you'll want to have this. Okay, scene of the stabbing of a detective of the PA. Okay. So let's look at that. Let's see. Can we look? Let's check that. Okay, it's just a regular room. Got it. So Detective Gumshoe, your boss for the day? That's right. It's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here at the police department. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? Said they're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation again. He said, I'm adamant though. I'm going to take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe? He said, of course, I am a detective after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open. Huh. So let's talk about that. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using their ID card? He said, well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Hello. So it's fingerprints, I'm guessing? Why, I'm on my third card since entering the force already. He said, that sounds like a lot. He said, yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint? Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coded with the fingerprints. So the only locker we can open is our own. That is very smart. We need that in more places. But a lot of people are probably going to not want to do it because we don't want our fingerprint information there and be like, oh, they're going to track us and shit like that. So never mind. This is funny. They look like normal lockers. These are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? The handles. On the other side of the handles is a sensor. And if the wrong person touches it, you get a shock. He said, if that's what happened, my hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Indicator lamp lights up when it's open. Okay, so let's talk about Edgeworth. He said, I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today. I see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. That case? Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident, of course. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Maybe we can get him to tell us more about the case. Let's present him with this. He said, could you take a look at this? He said, this is the ID card record of the people who came in here on the day of the stabbing. Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman. He said, whoa. He said, what is it? He said, that second number. It's not your ID, is it, Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth. Oh? He said, the second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. He said, what? So how'd he get in here? Huh. He said, why would Mr. Edgeworth have come to the evidence? He said, wow, look at this big pile of junk in the corner. That looks like a car door. There's a pair of handcuffs attached to the frame. Maybe the guy they caught was some sort of escape artist and he got away. Hey, that's one of those human profiles for range testing. He's been shot square in the forehead. Is it better him than us? Okay. So let's look at this. There's something sticking out of there. It looks like a shirt. I guess it must be evidence for some case. Said, I wonder if Detective Gumshoe has put this in here. So there you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of slob. I'm not responsible for the evidence here. That said, I bet that evidence locker was opened recently. How do you know? If you leave things hanging out like that, the evidence gets dirty or ripped. The guard checks on that kind of stuff and notifies the detective responsible. How many times have I had him breathing down my neck about some silly evidence? So it sounds like Detective Gumshoe leaves evidence hanging out a lot too. I bet he doesn't tuck in his shirt under that trench coat either. So if you're going to talk behind someone's back, don't do it in front of them, pal. I mean, if I'm going to call you out, I'd rather call you out to your face. Said some sort of bulky equipment is gathering dust here. Said what a sorry looking fishing pole that is. He said, that's my personal pole. I never did get around to using it. He said, wait, I've seen that. Oh, this is all the stuff from the thing, from the other thing, the other case that we had to use. He said, right, pal, that's the metal detector, the one that led to the solving of the case out in Gourd Lake, remember? Oh, right. Wow, that feels like it was ages ago, right? Said, and I don't think I've seen this one before. Said, oh, that's a what? He said, I'm sure it will come in handy in solving some case sooner or later. That cheap-looking box? He said, you can't judge a person or a machine by the cover. You gotta look at their heart. He said, look at this, one's open, and the red indicator light above the door is lit. He said, that locker is coded with Detective Goodman's fingerprint. Detective Goodman's locker? He said, are you sure it's okay to leave it open like that? Well, it'd be hard to get it open again if we close it. It's empty. They must have taken its contents elsewhere. Oh, there's blood there. He said, what, is this blood? He said, it's a little worn, but there's definitely a handprint here. It looks like someone tried to wipe it off. Mr. Wright, what if there are other blood stains left in the room? We should use her testing fluid to check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's use this and let's spray. Okay. Oh, ooh. I sprayed right on it. Okay, so there's a lot of blood there. He said this must have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. I'm not a professional. What's your opinion, detective? It's a pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an detective. Ain't no way you're this stupid. Like, come on now. Every time I just start to like you, you show me your idiot side again. Like, can you stop? Can you stop? He said, this proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans. He said, hey, if you didn't want, in my opinion, you shouldn't have asked. So it looks like this is the pool of blood that's actually responsible for the mark on his shoe. Like the pool of blood on his shoe might have came from this. And it dried up, maybe. Yep. And then that's blood for sure. He said, I knew it. This is someone's right handprint. What? He said, what's the matter, detective? This locker, it's mine. Oh, it's yours? Please, you have to help me when they come to take me away. Promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? He said, this is an important clue. I'll jot it down on the floor plans. He said, I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. Excuse me, but you're a detective. Not you saying don't trust the cops. And you're a cop. Oh, ooh. There's blood there. He said, why am I getting a reaction here? He said, there's no reason for the murderer to touch the spot if he fled out to the door. This just might be something significant. Hey, that's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. He said, what's this? It's called luminol testing fluid. He said, where'd you get your hands on that? He said, huh? I'd like to get some too. He said, I'll just borrow $50 from the chief. He said, where do you get this, Emma? He said, I always buy it by mail order. Well, I better jot this down on my floor plans. Because why is it right there? He said, someone must have broken something big to make all these pieces. He said, Detective Gumshoe, perhaps? He said, there you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case. The case? The SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on one of the pieces there? Another piece of SL9. So let's take a closer look. Now, I wonder what shape these pieces were in before whatever it was broke. You want to try to put it back together? Yes, can we? I'd love to. I love puzzles. It says, good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Well, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up. That's why I always carry around a tube of glue. I said, well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place. Let's do it. I like doing puzzles. Okay. So, for that piece, it's looking like... Can we rotate right? Okay. No. Not that piece. Not that piece. That one. Yeah. Let's combine that. There we go, Jazz. There we go. Okay. Now you definitely look like it could go. No. Hold on. No, let's, that one. Hold up. Let's see. Not that. Not that. Not that. That doesn't look like it. Or could it be you? No. It has to be a longer piece. Right? I don't think it's that. broke? Will that? No. Okay. So let's rotate you then, because it's kind of hard to see at this angle how it would fit. Huh. There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Now for that piece, that looks like that one. All right. Got that one. There we go. And now you. Oh, I've definitely seen that one. Okay. So let's rotate you. Oh, wait, no. Let's rotate you. No. Does that one fit? No, it doesn't. This one. There we go. Okay. Combine that. All right, there. How? What the fuck? I think it's this one. I think it's that one. Yes. Okay, we're doing good, Jazz. Okay. Now that one, let's rotate that and put that there. Bam. There we go. We getting this thing. We getting it. Hey. Okay. Let's see. Let's turn you. That. Will that be the way? Yes. Okay. I just had to make sure. Okay. Let's turn that and combine it. See how fast we did that, y'all? See how fast we did these puzzles? I'm good. I said, well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are missing. Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. The problem is finishing it. It said, were some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with. Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. Is that I kind of understand how it got broken. Jar piece back together, pieces missing. But it looks like blood is on it. He said, hey, look, they're hard to make out, but there are some dark red stains here. He said, looks like blood. Do you think Detective Goodman's blood somehow got on this when he was stabbed? Not likely. This blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. This jar was evidence in an SL9 incident. That might be when the blood got on it. He says, this thing doesn't have a bottom. So that's weird. I wonder which side is up. Better yet, what's the purpose of a bottomless jar? At least it doesn't collect dust inside, right? A bottomless jar. Said someone left a glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe? He said, there you go, pal. Making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case. Okay. So, extremely thin rubber glove. SL911. Okay, so we looked at that. Let's look at this over here. So if you put these pieces together, it makes a jar. There are two things that bother me. One, why are some of the pieces missing? Two, doesn't it seem a little unstable? No wonder it broke. I'll make sure to remember that next time I make a jar. What is a saw and paint doing here? So since the dawn of time, true art has always been a war against oppression. True art? I noticed that there's blue and yellow paint here. Oh, perhaps we're witnessing the birthplace of the Blue Badger? I said, well, you might say this is my studio. Here, in the evidence room? Why would you make this your fucking studio? The tag says SL911. I guess this is another piece of evidence from that case. You know, I never did care for the word tag. It's confusing. What's so confusing about that? Do you know how many other words sound like? Oh my god. He said, is that a word? So do you challenge me? Oh, girl, we're not doing this. So Detective Goodman's note and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone because of the SL9 connection. That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. But why would evidence from that case turn up now? I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case. So now that was a bloody violent case. Is it violent? So it was a murder? Is it a serial killing? A serial killing? Maybe I don't want to get involved in this case after all. Said, but the killer made a mistake, and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him. And this was 2 years ago? That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight and started the rumor mill. Rumors about forged evidence. It was supposed to be all cleaned up with the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is. So what do you mean? Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, you see? So, the switchblade knife, the victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself. Hey pal, look at the time. He said, was there something you needed to be doing? He said, it's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I'm going to go give them my report for the day. It might help, you know. Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer? He said, the one that says nothing but no problems? He said, hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he can use a report like this. I believe in him. Who needs enemies when you got friends like Detective Gumshoe? Said, I'm off, pal. Later. Okay, go do what you do. Said, I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. So let's move and let's go see him. Oh, you're back. He said, guess, my apologies. Said, oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Huh? He said, Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave so long. He said, is Edgeworth here? He said, they're standing by the window, a teacup in his hand. He said, right. He has the hotel bring him tea service. He says, Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry. Said, I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Said, yes, he brought me the latest information, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently, a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. Oh, that's nice. He said, the real info is on the other side, Edgeworth. He said, poor Mr. Edgeworth, I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. Okay, so let's talk to him. So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. I've heard them say that so many times, ever since that case 2 years ago. He said, are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney. However, something happened. He said they gave control of the investigation over to the police department. He said, the police department? Yes, any further investigation for this case will be directed by the chief of police Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you? Why? All along I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of, but still, wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. So let's present him the stuff that we found. Is it right? Please, I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea? He said, I'll pass on the tea. Just tell me about the case. Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth just told you no in a very polite manner. Whose side are you on? He said, maybe if I just show him my best evidence, I can get some reaction out of him. Okay. He said, oh, right. I better check this now. As I was saying. He said, what's this? A record of ID usage? Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? He said, please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He the villain, man. He the villain. I don't know. This man is too tan to be not evil. I don't know. He said, the chief of police? He said he wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office, but it was solved, right? It would have to be if the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask what kind of case it was? He said, I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. Now, I'm curious about this other case. I'd better make a note of it. Evidence from a past case of Edgeworth brought back to his office by Gant's request. Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. It might. About this? No? He said, some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in. He said, you are the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. Oh, okay. He must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. All right, so let's see. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. All right, so let's talk, okay? So the SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of the police at the time, Damon Gant. He said that wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too then. He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth? He said, what I want to know is why was the deputy chief of police on the investigation? So in truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't? Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. He said, yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? He said, if you were still studying forensic science. Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid. Oh, so you know what that is? He said, well then, you might have use for this. Aluminum powder for taking fingerprints. He said, it's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I have no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really, so no need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. He said, thanks. Thank you. Said, how about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? He said, well, let's get going. One last investigation. Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Yeah, so let's look. Yeah, we did. Hold on, let's move. Okay. Here, in this blood on the detective's evidence locker. Said, let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Okay. Yep, let's see what's going on. Said, let's get started. First, choose a finger. A finger? It said, right, each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print. Said, we really can't tell the difference at a glance. Quit procrastinating and choose a finger. Okay, so I think that this would, because the thumb is the biggest. He said, okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done. Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes. First, we sprinkled the aluminum powder around. Huh? How do you do that? With the X. Oh, okay. It said, okay, it looked like that did the trick. The aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. It said, how do I do that? With the triangle button. Exciting, I know. Imagine you blowing out the candles on a birthday cake, see? He said, that looks like fun. It might take some getting used to, though. It's fine. It won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting. Okay, so now I learned something. Forensics was always cool to me. I did have like a forensics class for like I think it was like maybe 2 months or something in high school, and it was an elective, and I had a lot of fun learning about that stuff. So I might have went deeper if I cared more about it. So I guess I better give it a try. All right, so let's dust. Dust it, baby. Dust it, blow. There we go. So you did it. You found one. It said, but this looks nothing like a fingerprint. It said, now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't. What does it mean? I think it means that we're out of luck. Out of luck? The person who left his handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time. He said, hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints? Other prints? Looking at the locker door again closely. Oh, there is another one. It seems like there are fingerprints outside the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print. Fingerprints outside the blood. Right here. There we go. So let's dust this around. Dust it around. There we go. Dust. And this looks like drugs. And blow. There we go. Now we got it. Or is that not the fingerprint? Hello? Or do I gotta do it more? Y'all want me to do it more? Okay, I got you. I'll do it more. There we go. Is that better? Is that better? Okay. You know what? Fine. I'm gonna just keep going until they say I can't no more. How about that? Because we see the fingerprint. But I think it's not good enough. So, let me just go ahead. Okay, there we go. It said dazzling. Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Did it? So let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet? This is quite a process. Where there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Thank you. So let's do it. Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth and point out the person you think left these prints. Huh? How am I supposed to know who it was? I could make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means that the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints would be most likely fine on this evidence locker? Okay, not that one. That one. Dick Gumshoe? Is it his? Is it his? Yes. Hey, there we go. It says, so the prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. So something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me this so what look. I guess that's probably because I was thinking, so what? I said, okay, so we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's look at the other one. Okay, and let's examine that. So this is where we got a luminol fluid reaction, right? Right, there was a handprint here. Okay, wanna try using this? There go her eyes. Okay, so let's check for prints again. He said, oh, but I have to warn you about something first. The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in that area will have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me. Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. Okay, so let's try to look over here. There we go. Let's go ahead and do this, and then let's blow. There we go. I gave it my best shot. That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it? But it doesn't look like we'll get a clearer result from this print. Okay, let's try a different finger then. Not that one. Okay, then right here? Would that be different? Oh! Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's get a little better. Let's get it a little better. Alright, and there it is. I think. Nope, we gotta get the top now. We can get the top. Alright, and blow it. There we go. Alright, so let's look. That kind of looks like it. That kind of looks like Gantz. A little bit. Let's look through everyone's. Not that one. I think it's that one. Jake Marshall, huh? Let's compare this one. Uh-huh. That's a match, baby. That's a match. There we go. I'm good at this, y'all. I need to try. It said these fingerprints, it said, whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It's Officer Marshall. Is it Officer Jake Marshall? Yup, uh-huh. It said, that's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime. Emma, this is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The luminol reaction. The blood and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh. So, we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped blood stain. Why would Officer Marshall? It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. But I guess this is what you call decisive evidence. I don't believe it. She seems so hurt. Oh, I believe it. We're gonna get that man. All we gotta give him is a steak, and he'll start talking. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the late victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana said, good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how'd it go? As Mr. Wright suspects, the police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean. But Lana, don't tell me you. Much to my regret, I am as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Sky, we found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's a trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? He said, we have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Sky? He said, do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Hey, I mean, I don't even know why the sister is getting upset. Would you rather fight for your sister or fight for Marshall? Like, which one? Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... He said, He said, I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. So one of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today, I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In doing so, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now, that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Maybe feign some confidence and people will, believe you. Fake it till you make it. Said, very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? What was it, Mr. Meekins? He said things are getting wild from the get-go. Yep, him. Okay. I kind of like him. He said, will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that will be murderer, sir. Oh my God, sister, you're telling us you're a professional killer? Says, sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir. Says, sir, I'm what you call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. He said, please, Mr. Ezra, sir, help me, sir. Said Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Said, give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. I kind of like him, though. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. Aw, I'm so sorry for you. He said, so the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto the others before they do unto you. He said, that's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. So let's press him. Let's press the first thing you say. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes, that's a scary thought. The evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The mascot? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. This fucking thing. This thing is so creepy to me. Said I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transfer process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. But there's a handprint on it that nobody's looking at. I see. Sounds like a very important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. So that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on there, right? He said, there it is, I found it. It said, this is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. He said, I see. But the number 4989596 is the last one. It's shown as being used twice. Oh, it sure was. He said, please explain, witness. He said, it's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when, yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Okay. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? He said, it was a knife, sir, a knife. Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. He said, that's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be. When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. Oh. He said, I fought for my life. Then I did it. You did what? What exactly do you mean when you said you did it? I know I don't look like the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. He said, you took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. So he must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then, the next thing I knew, yes, he punched me right in my face, sir. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. I love him. He said, all right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying, tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He said, he's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? He said, what is that? A videotape? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
Objection!
He said, what? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape and was told it had been mistakenly erased. Sir, I don't know if you know by now. People don't like you. I think it's obvious now. And people are dirty and corrupt in the police thing. Even Detective Gumshoe said, don't trust the police. Stop believing them, okay? So that's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. I said, well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? So let's watch it then. Let's see. And then this music, Lord Jesus. Oh, this thing is so freaking scary. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's. Lord. Okay. All right. Yes. Oh, we can't see the face. Can't see the face. They walk past. Okay. Can't see the face because his fucking flag is sitting there. All right. And so they opened up the locker. And he's coming through. He's like, who's coming back here? Then we turn around again. And he's coming up behind him. Oh! He did slash him. Oh, he did try to hit him. Oh! Oh my God, this is kind of scary. Actually, looking at it from this angle, like how it keeps going back and forth. Then he was on the ground, so that was his blood. That was a pool of. It was a pool of his blood everywhere. So that was a pool of his blood. Said, well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Right! He said, sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yep, so, He said, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence. He said, Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir, as you wish, sir. He said, his face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do so. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. All right, so let's press. Press. All right. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I will be classified as the latter? The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More more to the point, you were the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see? He said, yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him, and I'd bet my badge on it. You don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label someone as having seen or haven't seen it. He said, since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. He said, why is everyone looking at me? He said, if I had to label your stares as disturbing, or I'm trying to turn it around on us, Meekins. Said, having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please, be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claim the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive about these lockers. Is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir, and this too. I've heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir, they keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. He said, for the record, that open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. However, the most important detail is not shown in the video, the man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir, please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. He said, my unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. So yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. He said, Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Is there a problem with the security video? Yes. He said, regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such contradictions? Interesting, Your Honor. I have a proposal. Yes, Miss Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. He would want me to point it out? He said, very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Uh-oh. Right. Please show us this contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video? This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. I've set it up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Okay, please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. So how did this guy ever become a police officer? He said, now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not? Okay, goddamn, I couldn't have even finished it. Okay, let's fast forward. Let's, wait! That right there. Whoa. Why is that light on?
Take that!
Right there. Why is that light on? It's already open. The thing that's strange about the video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. He said, do you mean me, sir? As I understand, it's the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint if it's a match. And the light turns on, and the lock is released. According to my very, very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is certainly wrong with this picture. Because all of them are off except for that one. That one's lit up. Yeah. That thing is just creepy looking at me. Like, can it, like, just go, like, somewhere else? Sheesh. Then it's music. He said, when the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. It was still on. This is just such a cryptic, like, video to look at. It makes me feel so uncomfortable with this thing staring at me. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Yep. We did that little choke thing. It's so funny. He said, what's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When the door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know. It must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh, well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor? Something jam the sensor, say. There's something else that seems out of place in the video. Yeah, there's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker was... Goddamn, can I read? Alright, sheesh. Alright, let's fast forward. Okay, that light was on. He was coming. And then it opened. Wait! Something fell out of it. Whoa. Pause it. What's that? That's the glove. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. So something fell out. And that was the glove. That was the rubber glove. And that was evidence. But then he just left it on the floor. Boom. What was that? What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. Oh my God, Lord, shut up. He said, we can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? And inserted? Oh, I see. So it was there to act like it was closed, but it wasn't. And it kept it open just a little bit. I see. They kind of reminds me of like the little shirt thing that was dangling out of the first locker. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and a sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. And okay, he said, but the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It's made out of rubber. It's made out of rubber, so that's how it does. That it would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator you mean, okay, it's the rubber, it's made out of rubber, it's not gonna get it. He said, will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was the insulator? Oh, not that. I pressed by accident. Okay, that thing is made out of rubber. Yep, extremely thin rubber glove. Come on now, it's that. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove, but we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. The way that he twitches reminds me of like Mr. Crocker. He goes like, Fairly Odd Parents. Like, it reminds me of that. So, are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. He's not even paying attention. He said, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Hello? He said, oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. He said, is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. All right, what's he got to say now? There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 514 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, huh? Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. All right, let's see. So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd get the V for victory sign, sir. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that? Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. Is that card hanging from your neck, one of these ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? I said, maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time, it's my ID that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, it's that. He said, maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Please proceed with your testimony. Okay, so there's only one. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be it, Detective Goodman. He said, huh? What's the matter? He said, according to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. Uh-huh. Hello. So it is, Your Honor. Yep, let's get him. Not that prosecutor again. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth, it must be so difficult for him. He gets everything. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. He said, maybe he just panicked? Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth is to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. Wait! This.
Objection!
There we go, Jazz. There we go. Quick math, quick math. It said, wait 1 minute, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. Is it a lost item report? It's only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime, something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order. So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Duh, that's why he attacked him. Order. Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Said, bravo, Mr. Wright. Oh, bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are 2 grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? So that being the case, we must inevitably arrive at one single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. Oh, that is, well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago, you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Well, it seems you finally realize exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake. which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor office. The murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Oh, what? I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? Man, I think it's the damn chief. I think it's the chief, and he knows his face really well, so he just attacked. I think it's the chief of officers. And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, we have to do something or else Lana... He said, what do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object. Let's just do it. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. If that damn thing wasn't there, gumshoe, shit. Always fucking up shit and you don't even know it. Look at that thing. Lord, poor officer. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Yep. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. Yep, the defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth, yes, Your Honor? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean, Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness? Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Yup, did very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? This one right here, Jake Marshall. An officer, Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. He said, very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. There we go. We getting stuff together. So there's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured out everything. He said, Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? He said, hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. He said, oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. All right, get your ass on. He said, wait, Detective Gumshoe. I said, what is it? Got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. What? I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Skye. That's okay. So have you brought what I asked? Oh ho. Okay, so did you bring it? So do you mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Oh, so you forged this stuff? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident. Lana, I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Skye was a witness? Huh. So take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. He said, oh, what? Now that I brought your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? But why? He said, why is your name in here? What? My name is in here. I don't know, unless... It said, so it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... It said, that's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No, Lana. That's over with. No. So what happened? Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta go be somewhere. Oh, why everybody trying to run right now? Why is everybody trying to leave? What's going on? What y'all gotta hide? Huh? So sorry, pal. I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. He said, not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Man, what? What? Y'all hiding something. I'm gonna get down to it. Alright, y'all, so that is it for today's episode, part 1 of this trial. I kind of like doing the forensic stuff, y'all. The forensic stuff is fun for me. I like doing the fingerprinting and checking the blood and all that stuff. Like, it's cool to me. Like, that's very cool. And I also like Meekins. I like Meekins a lot. They make fun of him a lot, but I like him. And I like doing the little country accent for Marshall. I don't know why, but it just sounds so funny. He just looks like Cassidy from Overwatch, and I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this first part. Next part coming out soon. So I hope you guys leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll be back with another part of this episode very, very soon. And I'll see you guys later.